Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser. He is I met him first during Dickie Roberts, the movie, and we asked him to come in and do a day or two and play himself, and he did.
That was nice.
And he was super cool, and he's a huge star.
Huge.
He's always been a rep of being a cool dude. He's that was the height of his fame. He came over and did us a favor. We got to chat with him, and there's so much going on with Brendan. Plus, just give some of the movies. I mean,
he really. When he was 23, I believe he started Encino Man.
That was probably
playing
the one
a frozen caveman.
Broke through. And,
so then he was just
huge hit.
The 90s. He was doing George of the Jungle, the Mummy trilogies. He's had this incredible career, and then for different things we'll talk about, he sort of went away for a little while, and then he came back. I saw him on the Showtime show, The Affair, and he was great in that. And I hadn't seen him in a while. I go, damn, he's a great actor. And then recently, as everybody knows, he's done a movie called The Whale, in which he plays a 600-pound man. So there's sort of all things Brendan these days, and people are just really happy to see him back. Such a likable
Yeah, it's like
guy.
it's nice to see everyone pulling for someone, and he doesn't really need pulling for. I don't think that's what he's asking for, but it's just nice to see someone that's a good dude. Every career is up and down, and to still be killing it, and to know he's always probably knows he's good. It's the opportunities. That's for everybody. You just don't always get opportunities.
Oh yeah, totally. So he's back, and it was I think it was Lauren or Bernie that always said, the talent doesn't go away. So your career can go like this, but the talent doesn't go away.
We're going to ask him about standing ovations. They go to Cannes Film Festival. He got a 12-minute standing ovation. I go, do people feel dumb after a while?
Do you ever use the bathroom in the middle of standing ovation? Okay, I'd
be texting with one hand. Like, how long can you go like this and you go like a bunch of seals? But we'll get into that because there's a 6-minute one he had at Palm Springs and he had an 8-minute one. I'm like,
so first they stand and it's like 20 seconds, and then it's like that festival hears about it, and then 2 years later it's like longer than the movie.
Yeah.
But the French love to do that. You know the French.
We'll do a deep dive into that. We won't tell you about The Whale. We'll talk to him about it, so you can wait for that. And but what a movie! And here he is, Brendan Fraser. No one hates us, but we do all the time.
So this is, obviously new show business that we don't really even talk. We never had a plan. We just put the mic on and start talking to people connected to SNL in some way. Yeah. And, so it's weird that this is a job.
Blip on his whole resume.
Oh,
Sometimes it's the main thing.
Look at our notes. Do you have any questions, first of all?
He won't show me his notes.
No, I won't, because mine are better than Dana's. But
do you have any questions of us? Because we're
I was just
narcissists.
asking Greg who your sponsors are, because I'm just interested in how podcasts
A lot of
work.
this
is new for me.
A lot of HelloFresh.
Nice.
A lot of companies that basically say, we'll do the work for you digitally. Like, ZipRecruiter would be one of them. Like we'll help you hire people. Right. ZocDoc, we'll help you find a doctor.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
We keep this. ZocDoc. Sorry, but they're going to love this part of the podcast.
DraftKings.
This is this is free advertising.
I'm already kissing the house.
What's our favorite? We don't have a favorite. Masterclass.
No, it's good that they do it
Masterclass.
because
which you should teach.
Oh, you should teach a masterclass.
In what?
Brilliant acting. Duh. We both saw The Whale. I'm still recovering.
We both saw it. I didn't see it all. I got to the part where you got out to the ocean, and then I didn't see it.
It clicked out? Oh, shit.
No, I'm kidding. I saw it.
Okay.
I saw it, and it kept cutting off because they give you 18 minutes to watch it, and so it gives you little bits.
Oh, really? No, mine was perfect.
You know how screeners work?
Yeah.
There's someone on the other end.
I pressed a button. I had on a beautiful laptop, stereo speakers, and I went downtown. And it was amazing.
Well, listen, if we're going to talk about The Whale, we're going to
save it for people listening right now who want to hear about Brendan's thoughts about The Whale. It's coming up soon.
Okay, we can save that because I want to talk about it a lot.
That's a teaser. I'm learning.
I'm still shaken by it. Okay, we'll do a little SNL. Let's just ask him a couple quick questions because we have to fake like that's what this whole thing is about.
Well, no. I want to talk about SNL as a part of his whole thing because I was fascinated as I did a deep dive. Is how I hadn't seen anybody do the broad comedies and then can do the offbeat leading man funny guy like the Mummy stuff and back and forth. You're doing George of the Jungle and then you're doing Gods and Monsters. It's like there's a pattern here. I've had to have a theme. I have a theme for every podcast. Yours is like the seeds of you being this renowned, brilliant actor. It's almost like you're just starting now, I would say.
In a way.
Because you set the seed for it by constantly dipping your toes into it between these franchises that is so iconic. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I'll be quiet.
Okay, good night. Thanks, folks. Bye.
I think his pattern is there's no pattern. How about that?
Interesting.
Because, like, let's say someone like me who gets into comedy, you're lucky enough to just get comedies. And so if you were, let's say Encino Man was maybe one of the first things that sort of blew up for you.
That was.
Which is a comedy, you think that's all you would get offered and people tell me, oh, you should do more movies like Uncut Gems. I'm like, well, everyone should. I mean, that's just not how it works.
Yeah, do the Academy Award winning level movies. Those are the good ones.
Again?
Yeah. But then you went to School Ties from Encino Man.
Yes.
With Matt Damon.
Correction. It was the other way around. School Ties was shot first.
And then you went to Encino Man. Who were
the
your
release
agents
dates were flip-flopped.
Wait, so you...
So I you did
it, this brilliant drama, and then you went with this broad comedy, or whatever you want to call it, a full-blown comedy.
A straight-ahead teen comedy genre that I don't know if it's really being done that way anymore. You know, kids go to high school, have a big discovery, throw a party.
Not.
That's
my sons who are basically 30, I'll just round them off, that you're so much a big part of their childhood, and they miss just big, funny comedies that just exist to be funny.
Maybe people are scared to step in it because you got to dodge so many types of jokes, you know?
That's really your domain and expertise.
Yeah, and that's the hard part. They start pulling stuff and cutting stuff, and you just lose something. Maybe those days are over forever, but it's just like anything. You just like Madonna. You got to figure out a different way to make a comedy that's still big and funny.
I think they can come back. I think there's an appetite for it.
Yeah, I think there's a huge appetite.
Because it just releases all the cultural stuff that's going on, and you just laugh. You know.
So I had a question.
Wait,
you did School Ties.
We're not going to let you talk.
No,
so
I'm
just
asking.
so you know.
He warned me. I'd have to fight for my time.
I warned him ahead of time.
He's gonna.
But we're slowing down because we're shot out of a cannon because we just saw the movie. So
well, I was gonna. Yeah, I was deeply napping in a full on dream, and he said. He's here. No, I'm kidding. No, but I live close by.
No, I said, get over here, prick.
I said, who? He said, Brendan.
So the School Ties is sort of a heavy drama, right? So you get that. Now, is it because of some sort of feedback or buzz from that you, when you go for Encino Man, that helps that because you've got one in the can that people like? Sometimes that's how it works. You know?
Chronologically, I went into Made for Encino Man before I got hired to do School Ties.
Wow.
And I was reticent to do Encino Man because it was too kooky and I wanted to, I don't know, step out as a very serious actor straight out of college with my BFA in my back pocket and a lot of aspiration. And I understood that the character is basically the new guy in town, which was something that they hadn't seen anyone bring in to the readings or the auditions before that they really wanted because he's a fish out of water. He's trying to fit in, all that. But it was so broad and I didn't really know anything about film or comedy. And then School Ties came down the pike and I read for that. Did nothing with it because it didn't go anywhere. They were casting at DriftNet to find their David, as I learned. And then a number of months later, they came back to with a new casting director who had me go in and read for Sherry, and they did a screen test. And I thought when they said, do you want to test? I was thinking exams and something. That's how green I was. Got the job, and that was great. I read with Matt Damon and met a lot of the other guys who were already hired. Was off to Boston and Massachusetts to shoot School Ties and was getting messages from Encino Man with George Zaloom and Les Mayfield were quite driven to get me to come on board. And then partway through almost finishing School Ties, I was having a conversation with a really great guy who was called Keith Wester. He's not with us anymore. He was a soundboard mixer, and he had a great voice, and he was always mixing sound, but he was on his own radio show in a way as he was reading. He was really a charming guy, and he was mentoring a lot of us. And I was talking about, what are you doing? And I was conflicted and very serious, and got this comedy thing they want me to do, and they've offered it to me. And he said, well, hang on, there's this, it's a drama, and you got a comedy. It's not a bad thing to have, as he said, he joked about it. A bird in the hand is worth two in the nest. Is that the
Bush? I think
idiom?
Bush was
Thank
near
you.
ahead, and
I just realized my voice is so loud compared to Brent. I'm screaming.
I'll sit up.
He's very quiet.
Well, can I say something? I saw an electromagnetic visual thing around your mic. Maybe it's your charisma. But
was that it?
I'm sorry. There's a flash feature on my phone,
it
which
just
I
went
will
zzz.
turn.
Yeah,
it went swoosh. So
well, Greg
it's
Holtzman and
quite annoying.
Heather.
I'll turn that off. I don't want to be that guy. So.
Well, I didn't
you're
want
fine.
anyone to get electrocuted during our podcast.
It's my own lighting feature. When I say something interesting,
He's got a light that
I said,
lights
this
him
guy
from
has
the underneath.
charisma. It's like there's a lightning. But by the way, you had to, when you read the script for School Ties, it was the first time you had to not have clothes on and act. So I saw you had to have a fist fight with Matt Damon in a shower.
Yeah.
When you read that in a script, are you like, okay, or I can't wait for that day?
Well, you don't look forward to it, but I understood what the scene was about, was exposing one another's prejudice and all its
it was
naked
incredibly
aggression.
potent. Yeah.
And so it kind of drives the point home.
Yeah.
And 17-year-old boys fight. So to get the lock it, let's figure this out with our fists.
It's interesting. I don't want to interject, but I like to interrupt David.
Yeah.
These people throughout your life, anybody, could be a parent, brother, friend, who'll say these casual things that kind of tilt you in one direction or another. We could all have stories about that. So this one guy said this thing to you, which made you, I'm going to go do Encino Man, or it tilted you that way.
It helped me make up my decision, because his point was, if you're new to the industry, your calling card will be, I can do something dramatic. I can
do it all. Yeah.
Comedy, tragedy. You can do
You don't get that off. You don't get that chance a lot. So you have a chance before the one comes out. You're like, I can do the other one, and then now you can get hired for two different kinds of movies.
That was the hope then. So
yeah. And by the way, Encino Man is a good movie you can do wrong. Like that.
No, it was
that.
really
reading
worked.
it, he was great at it. I remember seeing it back then. I think Paulie was in it with you.
Correct.
And Paulie was funny and crazy, and but you were charming. He's good looking, but you're making a lot out of this that could have gone the wrong way. You know what I mean? It could have been so dumb, but it was a huge hit, and that was great, and it was fun. I remember watching it back in the day.
Thanks, Dave.
And that kind of launched you. I remember my first audition was for a movie called I wrote it down. It was one
George
with
of the Jungle?
Dead Poets Society.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't that around the same?
Prior to that, I remember. Yeah.
Like 89.
88, 89. I was in college then.
Yeah.
What did you say about it?
I just remember that film was coming out and it was being promoted, and I was seeing a young Ethan Hawke and the cast on Oprah, I think it was, to do press for it. So it was prior to, and you did movie anything in my.
Yeah, I did a couple auditions and didn't quite make the cut. So from George, I'm not George Jungle. You have so many in here, goddamn.
Yeah, there's so many. But I just want to interject this too, because is that you had said that your dramatic training, so you're doing some of these movies and you're just totally committed, like as a dramatic actor, essentially, when you're doing even Encino Man.
Yeah.
You're not thinking comedy, you're just playing the truth of the scene.
I don't know how to think comedy. I think I'm the least funny person I know. And so
I saw some pretty funny shit on it.
But my approach, it's a risk calling comedy anyway, but my understanding or approach is that if you think you're funny, you're not.
Yeah.
And if you
try to be funny, for sure you're not.
So play it as a straight ahead reality, right?
Yeah. And on SNL, when the host would come in and sit down in that first Monday meeting and say, "Good news, guys, I'm funny." We'd all go,
"Oh no,
I know how to do it. I know.
And I was shocked.
I know all the rules of comedy. You say
that.
3 things. And you go, "Oh boy."
I just made a joke. It wasn't Christopher Walken.
No, he said the Bears.
I know how to be funny. No.
He's great.
But one gear that you did have also in these 90 comedies is that and I find it really interesting that you could make your face like super leading man, handsome. And then you could go to a grin that would just go a certain way that made you kind of funny, or you could take the handsomest way and be the goofy leading man. It was really interesting to watch that, some of your stuff. Was that intentional, or just you were just thinking it? I'm sure you weren't making a face, but you could actually had a chameleon aspect. Is that chameleon?
Well, I think you shouldn't take yourself too seriously.
Yeah,
maybe it comes from that.
Yeah. And I think if you're having fun internally, I do think with comedy it helps. Even doesn't mean you're mugging, pushing, trying to be funny, but you're in a sense of fun.
Likeable is half of the battle too.
Anthony Hopkins, a Tony to me, told me once that he thought acting at the top level is a form of self-hypnosis. He would, as you probably have heard, he only reads the script 200 times.
Wow.
And he has a Polaroid in those days. I know you're a huge Polaroid camera person. He had a Polaroid picture of his character, and they'd yell Speed. He'd put it up, look at it, put it on his face, and go,
"What?"
And then put it in his pocket, and then he was the guy.
Are you sure? You're not making that up for...
No, it was Tony Hoppy.
Whatever.
He would huff a Polaroid picture of himself and then play the character?
Yeah. He
wow.
would look
whatever
at it.
Works,
Speed,
man.
we're rolling.
Exactly. Whatever
then
works.
he'd breathe it. And he said, I think it's sort of, I always do Robin Williams when I do Anthony Hopkins. They're both incredibly shy. His charisma is like this, But this, we'll go to The Whale in a minute, but it's hard to act.
A point I wanted to make about something else I learned, I got this from Lauren, was before I did the first monologue when I hosted SNL, that moment before it wasn't broadcast, it would have been the rehearsal. Dress, thank you. He came out and he has a little chat with the hosts. I was told, Lauren's going to have a word with you. All he said to me was, it's all about confidence. And he turned on his heel and we went to shoot it. Went to air.
Wow.
That's what he told me. I mean, I didn't know if he was telling me be confident or don't try and be funny, but essentially it's just about taking ownership of what you're doing and committing to it. I think that let me know a lot about pretty much everything else about, again, knowing you're there for a good reason, you're good at what you do, you like what you do, and if people don't laugh at what you're doing, then just move on to whatever is next.
Yeah.
Well, I felt when I watched the 97 monologue, you were very confident.
Thanks.
But then when I watched 99, there was a whole other level of relaxation because you'd already done it once before. Nothing defeats that. You went in and you found Tom Davis in the room. It's like Tom Davis was still living on the set. And it was really, really funny.
He was there when I was there. What about, when did Airheads come along?
95?
95. So I was hearing you talk about that on some,
with Sandler.
With Sandler. I didn't even put that together. I was like, oh, what's that?
I
was jealous.
Whenever he's mentioned, I try to do that, just under my breath.
Yeah.
He's listening, trust me.
So, by the way, listen to this, Dan. So it's, Adam was asking you, or you guys are kind of bullshitting about Airheads, and then Adam goes, oh, and Farley was on it. He was on for 2 weeks. He did a lot of night shoots. And it was probably the most fun I've had on any set. I'm sorry. Were you in Grown Ups, Adam?
Traitor.
No, it was very traitorish, and you agree. I'm glad you agree. And Grown Ups 2 also. He could have picked either one. But I remember Airheads, and I was jealous. I think Bob Simons did that movie. I think it came along.
Yeah.
And you were shooting down. It was in New York, some of it. There was some inside stuff, and I would came to watch. I don't think I knew you, but I knew Adam and Farley and Buscemi I just met. So that one kind of was a fun one too. It didn't do great, but another fun comedy one, right?
It's come around. I do a lot of fan conventions now, and people show up dressed like Chaz Darby and the characters.
Oh, yeah.
The posters to sign. They scream, if it's too loud, you're too old.
Yeah.
They're flipping you off.
Double barreled flip off. And you just get them right back. Oh, I love you, bro.
You know what? I think it's really fun when you get a movie that lives on, because sometimes movies do well and you never hear from them again, and then some sort of live on, and it's good to have the ones that live on.
I think it resurges because it's nostalgia for a whole new generation.
I did one called PCU, and then people go, oh, PCU is great. I didn't love it, but I go, oh, yeah, okay. Hey, listen, if there's people that get into it and forever, and it's kind of timely again now because it's politically correct and all that stuff.
Right.
Some of my movies were buried in Nevada in a mine.
In a
And
silo.
then
If you could have saved Clean Slate, you could have played that baby. But
they would test
boy.
nuclear bombs and just do it because they wanted to blow that movie up.
People still like Wayne's World. Come on, you guys.
Yeah, Wayne's World.
Favorite of
Who are we
mine.
kidding?
Dana.
Let's talk about Superman. I just heard that. That can be a quick story, but
Oh,
Superman. What was the era of Superman? Was that an audition or was that a meeting or how does that work?
that would have been in the year 2002. It was on the Warner Brothers lot. They were looking for a new Superman, and I think there were like 5 or 6 guys around town who were being juggled, their names juggled around.
Sure.
There was a test deal, same thrill.
Oh,
come
test
in.
deal,
Yeah, I went in on a Fox or the Warner Brother lot, put on the outfit. No, first I went into an office somewhere in Wilshire Corridor, and they locked me in a room with a script that was printed on crimson paper with black ink. Could hardly read it, but you can't photocopy it either by stealing it.
Okay.
And I could read it and give it back to them, and then they
For a Superman movie.
I could know the story.
Okay.
So was it since Christopher Reeve? This is like the first Superman back.
I
Oh,
don't
no, it'd be way
think
later
so.
than that.
Yeah.
I think Reeves might have done the third one in the 80s. So,
Right.
Brandon Ruth played the part.
That's
He
what
got the
ultimately
job.
got your part.
okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, it's his, but I mean, I was an aspirant for sure. And there was a screen test.
How did you talk as Superman? I mean, did you kind of lower even? You have a pretty deep voice, but did you?
I didn't want to put quotation marks around anything,
Yeah,
and
so
I
did you
didn't
just
pretend
play
to be
yourself?
Superman. I tried to, get back and think of it. Well, the script that was written was like, it was like heightened text. It was
Yeah.
like,
They seem like that.
Dramatic.
had a gabbler or like big stuff that you would have done iambic pentameter Shakespeare and all classic text.
Yeah.
And so I gave that kind of approach of just taking everything seriously and playing big objectives and
Yeah.
and just trying to approach the piece as if it was a giant opera in space. And,
Did you have any lines like "Lex Luthor, you're an idiot"?
close.
Some bitch.
Close.
Tyzor was his name. I was bellowing, Tyzor! Like, I'll kill you, Tyzor!
I would have done it as Super Encino, man.
Gee, I would have loved that. Tyzor, change your name, bitch.
Was Zod in one of those, or am I crazy?
Zion. I
No,
love
Zod. There's a woman
Yeah.
and a man with black hair, and they came down there going bzz, bzz. They're-
the three that got in the painted glass.
I
That
think
was the
it's
original.
I
like-
love that one.
That one was brilliant.
Yes.
The first Christopher Reeves
With the
Superman.
glass prism floating around space.
79,
and they
and
go,
the planet
It
explodes.
wasn't Brando and all that, was it?
Brando was in that.
He
He was
was.
amazing.
Zod.
my only
Maybe I
forgotten
read for
son
Zod.
to the planet.
And we, that other story.
Brando is
Brando is
Trump.
Trump. He is a little bit. That sounds
He's
good.
Regis.
Get out of here. And there's a little bit of Brando. There we are. There's no one finer than Brendan Fraser.
Anyway,
I just have to
sorry.
tell him
I'm just a little
quickly.
punchy right now.
You're
I'm sure
giddy.
you're more punchy than me.
No.
No, he's beat up. You're giddy from the whale, but we're not talking about that just yet. I want to tell him about his big
can't
break
wait.
in Dickie Roberts. Now,
Yes.
Dickie Roberts, where everyone was saying a Brendan Fraser.
It's like Razor Frazier, right? Razor Frazier rather than
Do you
Frazier.
shave with a razor or do you shave
Oh,
with
Fraser.
Frazier.
a... Do you shave with a razor?
Razor?
Or do you
You
say
did
with
it,
a
Dana.
Fraser?
Razor,
The chameleon voice guy got it!
Yeah.
Yes!
I can do
It takes direction.
Tell him about.
No,
Brendan Fraser just gave me an acting note.
I
and
know,
it
you
was
did
a
it good.
great note.
he'd be a good acting teacher.
Yes. I want you to direct me. We'll talk later.
You
no,
can't afford
Dana,
me.
don't quit trying to get off
Couldn't
Dickie
afford
Roberts.
me.
Dickie Roberts is
Give
a
it
tsunami.
a quick synopsis.
So what happened is
Of
I
the-
was
of the
wondering
movie.
because I didn't know Brendan and he was nice enough to come in and do something in it, but I think it was through Sam, the director of George's.
Sam Weissman.
Okay, so the backstory on that was just to bore the fucking shit out of you is Dickie Roberts was pitched. We pitched it. Me and Fred wrote it, and we said, "Oh, it's a child
Wolf.
star," which is sort of to this day a theme of child stars kind of hit the skid. You know what I mean? They have a lot of trouble, and it's very real, and it's sad, and it's no one's quite figured out how to fix it. But that movie was PG-13. Two funny things. One, when we finished writing it, a pretty big director, God, I can't remember who it was, said, "I'd love to do it. I'll keep the first act, but we have to go very dark after that." and make it R-rated and make it with the way that it really is. And I said, no, it can't be super dark. I mean, and Paramount's not going to do that. So we handed it in. By the way, when I handed it in, this is a classic showbiz story. So they read it at Paramount, and then I get word through back channels. They like it a lot, and they want to give it to Jim Carrey now.
Ouch.
You understand that this could happen at any time. This is a classic behind the scenes. And so people were trying to keep that away from me going, the good news is they love it, but they think Jim could take it like crazy because he was the biggest guy right then. They'll give him $20 million. And they talked to Adam Sandler. Sandler was the producer of it. And so he said, I don't know, ask Spade, but I think Spade, because he co-wrote it, would rather be in it. But then John Goldwyn, I think it was John Goldwyn, who's under Sherry. You mentioned Sherry Lansing. I think you mentioned her about School Ties.
Yes.
So he called me and said, you might have heard some rumors. It was so weird. And he said, I apologize. We're moving forward the way it is. And I said, John, I get how business works. Take me out of it. If you could have Jim Carrey, I get it. It's really not personal. Yeah. I'm trying not to take it that way. And he said, no, we're moving forward, and let's do it. And so that was such a wake-up call. Like, those conversations happen every day. Yeah. And you just don't know it. I shouldn't have known it, but I found out. He said, you still want to do it? I said, yeah. So we did it. Brendan was very nice, came in, and
what did you do?
Movie. Lovitz was in it.
Dickie Roberts.
I was playing myself.
Yeah, he's playing himself.
Oh, you did a celebrity cameo.
He was. Okay. I was proving that I think I know celebrities because I grew up and I was wearing gloves and I was crazy. But that child star thing could go. There's really dark because they're kids and they get involved in all these crazy adults, and then there's the drinking and so we sort of did a skim job of making it, but it was fun. We brought in a lot of child stars to do it, and then at the very end, some of them aren't with us anymore, but it was very interesting to talk to them up front, and hear some of their real stories. But we can talk about Brendan's movies again. All right.
Do you have any more things you want to share about Saturday Night Live before we move on?
I loved it. It was a proving ground, and I earned a stripe at the same time. By the way, I felt like I had. It's a milestone, absolute milestone.
You feel like, I think if I was just out there doing a show or doing a movie, and when it's one of those things like the cover of Rolling Stone or something where they go, they want you to host it, it has to hit you. Like,
it does.
It's just a big deal.
It's not insubstantial at all. And when you host that show, you own New York for an hour or so in a feeling that you get.
Yeah. Oh, it is
it's the coolest
you
thing.
Feel like you're a part of the city in a meaningful way that I wasn't anticipating.
The whole city.
Machine. Everyone's trying to help you. Everyone's there to make sure you're okay that week. And
I think it's about changing clothes.
It's mostly about changing clothes fast.
Quickly. Running around bleachers, not trying to bump your head into the overhead thing.
Basically
naked.
You
would be in danger of that at your height.
Oh,
Nealon used to bang
clocking
his head.
stuff. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Yeah. They even put bumpers on it. Like,
they have bumpers.
Little tennis balls.
Because you're sprinting sometimes across the studio in the dark.
Naked.
Essentially naked.
Underneath the seats of everyone watching, so there's all these asses above you, and you're like,
crew guys are walking by, they've got me stripped naked. This guy walks by with a cigarette going, Spade, I thought you were going to start working out. I go, hey, get out of here. You're not supposed to look.
I would just close my eyes. I was so humiliated. I just had a little underwear on it. I was completely bare-chested, everything. They're combing my hair. They're picking at me, and I just closed my eyes, and this can't be happening.
I wear 2 Speedos in case my main one breaks. All right.
I wore a Hooter clamp. Did you know the Hooter clamp? It's a thing that keeps everything in place.
Oh, really?
It's called a Hooter clamp.
It's a dance belt, Dana.
No, that's a joke. My brothers and I had that as a running gag when we were kids. I have 3 older brothers. Like you.
Is that one of our sponsors?
We joked about the Hooter clamp. 3
Brought to you by Hooter clamps.
Brought to you by Wiener
Have you got your Hooter clamp on? It was just a joke. I don't know.
There's also, you can put a trucker's buddy in there where you can pee during the show. That's real.
We don't.
Okay, no.
3 older brothers.
Wait. An SNL. So 97. I had gone. I know you probably looked for me for about a half hour. I had gone by then, and then was Will Ferrell? I think was there.
Yes, he was.
So what was your cast? It was sort of Will, maybe Molly,
Sherry
Colin Quinn, Will Ferrell, Tim Meadows. You were in a really funny sketch with Sherry O'Terry and Chris Kattan where they went crazy in the gym.
Yes.
Like, what, you want to work out? Huh? That aggressive sexual thing.
Do.
The most committed sketch players ever, probably. And you were right in there, at the end. Come on, you guys. And every time you'd play along with them, they'd start screaming at you. It was really funny. You're like, these people are sexual perverts. I'm the trainer. Okay, I'll go with it. What, you want that? You want that? And then Chris Kattan would go nuts on you. Very funny.
Hey, man, dial it down.
Yeah. So,
It's fun to be in that insane world of like sketch, and then the second you're like taking a bow in your head going, we got through it, here's the crowd, it's live, and they're ripping you going,
Again.
you're the UPS guy in this one, you have a Russian accent, going, like, oh shit, there's another one you're looking like.
Or even worse, if there's a sketch you fell in love with, that one got cut. What? No.
I know. That's between dress and air. It's heartbreaking. You know.
Were
Were you on the first Delicious Dish? That's where
No, not the first one. I was on it, though.
But it didn't. The applause at the beginning, I felt like it was new when you were on it, or maybe it was the second time.
I wouldn't know what to compare it to, but I think Peach Sweaty and Peach Sweaty's balls was already
Sweaty Balls.
Yeah,
That happened
He was
before I
coming
got
on with a little beard and glasses and playing sort of this quiet nerd, playing very small about squash or something like that. Yep.
That was me. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And what were there? Yeah. Okay.
The scary thing is giving
Just
notes to
being
someone
very
like a host. Like if
Or
I'm with
Good
Brendan,
Times. Good Times. Was that it? Good Times.
you
Yeah,
walk
yeah,
up to
good
him and
times,
go,
good
read
times,
this a little
good times.
harder.
Hey, this.
Because writers get to be directors on SNL.
I had a hard time understanding that concept. I'm like, who's the director? Who's the director? And someone actually pulled me aside. Brendan,
Everybody is.
The writers are the director. You are the
Dude, I wrote my first sketch. They go in the booth and watch it. I go, what does that mean? I'm the director of it? I don't know what the fuck's going on.
The great thing there was, when William Shatner came on, he was so loose, like during the dress show or whatever. He seemed like, he goes, well, why would I can't, because we're so under rehearsed. Like, it's ridiculous. There's cue cards.
He wasn't
So-
even stressed
Yeah.
because, why bother?
Can't believe people take it seriously. You can't rehearse.
So it is just, I loved it personally because I can get up in my head. I love that it was so fast.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just go. Plant
less
our
time to
feet.
think about it. Right?
No time to think. Just go, go, go. But
I'm jumping ahead to the Mummy. Now, the Mummy,
The
in
Mummy,
England, it's called the Mommy.
I'll see your mummy and raise you the whale.
No, we're getting to the whale. That's the big ending.
The whale is the big kahuna.
Yeah.
All right.
But the Mummy, I liked it because
Easy,
leading
Ahab.
man. Say it again?
Easy, Ahab. hunting for the whale. Yeah. There you go.
No, we'll get to that. But
Sorry,
The
I
Mummy
interrupted you,
is a
David.
giant
Giant.
franchise.
Yeah.
3 huge movies
Yes.
that Brendan starred in the Knots.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, the
What
Mummy.
did you make?
that
What was your biggest payday?
No, let me see. Oh, yeah, it's almost about
You don't have
money.
to tell
You make
us.
a lot of money.
Biggest
You don't have to tell us how much money you got paid.
I don't even honestly recall, to tell you the truth, because most of it's gone now.
I know the feeling. One
Oh,
day
yeah.
you're
I have a
flush,
question.
and the next day,
I-
little birdie comes and takes it all away.
Sorry,
Do you
Johnny
remember making $1 million? My first
yeah,
million,
I do.
I remember.
I don't
And-
remember what
this
it was,
is a
but I remember
really
making
good
it.
conversation.
Isn't that a good conversation? 'Cause
First million. Well, what do you net?
that's the thing. Is it $1 million in the
Exactly.
bank?
People don't understand.
What's the check shock on this one? I remember my first paycheck, and it was for $17,000 on a pilot I did.
What the net?
I went and picked up my check from the agency. It said $9,000. And I went to their accounting department. This is a mistake here. And they pulled me aside and they're like, no, kid, you got to pay taxes. You got to pay a commission.
Oh,
I had the
commission.
same
I had
thing.
no idea.
You're out. I mean, if you get $1 million, you probably make, and this sounds crazy to people because $1 million is so much, but when you walk with 375,000, you go,
You round down to 25 cents on the dollar.
yeah, because you got agent
You
manager.
get used to
sometimes
the
business
gross
manager.
figure, and your friends hear the gross figure.
Yeah.
Right.
I drove to an
Still
agency
a lot.
once with my wife, and I think it was a $30,000 check for a pilot. And we're like, we're rich. It's
Yeah, of
over,
course.
babe. We went in. It was like $1,300. I tried to give her a hug. She pushed off me.
like different,
Get off me.
different
You're
three.
not
You said you were rich. Yeah.
Just kidding, honey.
I got it at some point, and I was so excited about it. And okay, and my question about the Mummy were, it was early in CGI, kind of.
Yeah, it was the tip of the spear at ILM with John Burton running
Oh,
it.
ILM.
then.
Okay.
And they had done a lot of stuff with, I want to say, like Terminator.
Shit. Yeah.
and,
ILM was a big one.
The
Not Avatar.
like the creature from
Alien.
I was no close. It was Jim Cameron's water movie.
I remember that. The Abyss.
The Abyss, I think. Yeah.
I got it.
That was pretty good,
That was good, dude.
Because I know a guy who was in it, Todd something. Yeah. Anyway.
But it was a big gamble because first of all, nobody had any idea what the movie was going to look like. Is it a comedy in a way? Because everybody's comparing it to Abbott and Costello and it's a throwback, The Mummy, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a horror film? Was it
Was it Indiana Jones?
Was it an adventure film? Was it a romance? Was it a
And it was all
It
of it.
was like a genre.
Exactly.
It was a
It
beginning
hit him
of,
on all counts, like
a
Rachel
Marvel
Weisz.
movie today.
Is Rachel Weisz
Right?
the girl?
That hits on all those frequencies.
Correct.
The girl, and it was great with him.
Mm-hmm.
John Hannah.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
See? Oh yeah, he was your guide or something.
He was her brother, my brother-in-law, my ne'er-do-well brother-in-law.
They call them popcorn movies today, right? Just fun. That's
Straight
what I
Was
ahead.
it
think.
fun to do?
Kind of scary.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
A little bit scary,
A little bit romantic.
but it's
little
thrill
bit fun.
ride funny. Like, I
Yeah.
want to do it again.
Yeah.
Do you get hurt ever?
Not on that one, just my feelings.
Is your feeling? Why you're
I
feeling?
can't remember one reason or another.
How were you with reading reviews throughout your career? Did you get iron
I
or
think
were you dinged by it? Or I'm terribly sensitive. If anything says anything slightly negative,
early
about
on
me,
it was, you want to slap me in my bulbous face, says some writer in Portland, Oregon. I thought, them's fighting words. I'm gonna come
Yeah.
find you, bro. But it's hard to not take stuff like that
Sure.
personally.
yeah.
But I would always feel like I would root around and look for the good ones, but I didn't know if they held any currency.
Sift through.
Yeah.
I get hurt by Instagram comments. I'm
You
very
are on
fragile.
social media? Are you crazy?
Yeah. That's
Painful
you-
indeed is vindictive speech is a theme of The Whale.
Yep.
Say that again.
Painful indeed is vindictive speech. I saw that on a plaque outside of a temple in Thailand years ago in front of a giant golden recluse.
Well, earlier in your career, if you get something negative, it can affect your career, and you know it. And then later, when you've gone through some stuff, it's a little. If you feel a little more resilient, you know you can withstand the storm. But if early on you do something and people are negative or Rotten Tomatoes or all that shit, it's such a wispy career where it could just wind blow away from you, and you're like, wait, I'm a big deal. And they're
I
like,
think
"No."
it's worse when you've had some success and then you get dinged and they use that success
you
to
get a piece of
juxtapose
it.
how you're not successful anymore.
Mm.
Because I've had my travails with that. But then you kind of go back to, Tom Hanks said there's no crying in
In
baseball.
baseball.
There's no being bitter in show business because the entire thing is designed to make you bitter. I
Make
met
you
Mickey Rooney was the most bitter
means
man I
it's
ever
working.
met. I was the #1 star in the world. You hear me? Bang. The world, So I knew early on, okay, everything about show business is designed to make you feel bitter. So I'm going to choose either to pretend or just remember that we're privileged that we get paid $1 to do this.
To do this.
Yeah.
That's their up. It's like they're paying me to do this. That's how I felt early on
Mm-hmm.
because I would be doing this anyway, even if you didn't, because I didn't know what else to do.
Tony Randall told me that.
Did he?
We get paid to do this. And he was
That's-
like 85 at the
Yeah.
time. Never lost the wonder in all of that.
That's why I like people who do regular jobs because I go, we need them. I can't do it. I can't do jack shit.
Agreed.
And I appreciate it. I was a busboy, got fired 3 times. But in The Mummy,
You're a
I was asked
fighter.
that. First of all, The Mummy looked fun, like you said it was.
Fun.
But doing stunts, you must have had to do some in The Mummy. And then you said you
I got
hurt.
choked out pretty good on
yeah.
day 2 or 3. There was a hanging sequence and
Hanging?
from the neck.
No, I'm out.
Well, didn't they have you in a harness and
They
CG?
they didn't because
We were trying to get the shot before lunch.
Exactly.
That's
So
what
you had-
happens.
Wait,
People
a
don't
hanging
realize that.
scene and you blacked out? Did
Well-
they fire the stunt coordinator?
No, he was too important, and plus I could still be
But,
replaced.
yep,
it was
it's a
early
hierarchy.
on in the schedule,
Wow,
so
wow.
we were running around going, we still have jobs, we do, but we could be replaced. Hannah was like that all the time, like, oh no, I can't believe it. Don't tell them they'll send me back to Glasgow. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, I still got a job. They can't fire me now. Fuck it, let's do this.
So
Sorry, I
that's-
just channeled from that.
You can't. It's hard to complain on the set. You don't want to be a complainer.
I got choked out because the rope was on my neck. Steven said, hey, it's a medium shot. It doesn't look like you're hanging because they already shot the wide of the stuntman in the harness. And he went, bang, and it looked great. You only need a moment. And then they go in on a coverage of Rick, choking. Did one shot, came in, and he said, hey, look, it doesn't really look like you're, dying. Can you really dial it up? And all right, I didn't like what was happening anyway. So we went for another take. And I remember watching, the camera was on tripod, came around, there's the guy screaming off camera, and I remember looking, I could see the matte box, and I thought, okay, I'm really going to sell the hell out of this, and I made up what would really make me look like I'm choking, like I'd been asked, so I huffed air really hard and started hyperventilating and held my breath, so I thought, I'll get really big red veins popping out of my eyeballs and all that. That's the stupidest thing you could do if you're at carotid arteries are being choked off. And the guy holding the rope above me on the scaffolding was the stunt man, and he brought up the tension, and I was on my own feet,
On your toes.
on my
you're on your
toes,
toes.
and I had nowhere to go unless I was a ballerina.
Yeah.
And I don't. All I remember seeing is the map box come around, and then it was like, mew.
Went black.
An iris closed, like someone turned the dial down, like, boo. And the next thing I knew, there was a British voice going, Brendan. And there was dirt in my ear and in my teeth, and it felt like my elbow was behind my head, and the world was sideways. I didn't understand it, and my shin really hurt, and everyone was quiet as a drop of pin. Forget it. They were screaming their heads off moments ago, earlier. And I thought, what just happened? And then it kind of dawned on me that these guys are medics. They're trying to wake me up. Everyone's looking at me. It was, while it didn't hurt per se, it frightened me more than anything else. And I didn't like having that feeling of, being the fallen team player when it happens in hockey or football or something. Everyone gets quiet.
Yeah.
And I kind of had this emotional reaction, like I did
would.
something wrong or I didn't know.
Whole set's dead silent.
And Simon Atherton, I outed you, runs over to me and he goes, all right, man, cool. You're in the club. Same thing happened to Mel Gibson on Braveheart. I'm like, I want to go home.
Wow. Initial here. Press hard for copies. We won't sue.
I passed
even
that
think of that.
test.
He is a great stunt guy. He went on, he did a lot of really good stuff that we've
I've
all
never
really-
heard. I've never heard of someone having that experience.
Well, apparently Mel Gibson did on Braveheart. Like, I want to
Yeah, but
wear.
he said, "Let's do it again."
There's a difference.
And that's my bad, Mel Gibson. So.
That was Mel Gibson.
Oh, I can't. Australian accents are difficult.
That was Keith Urban.
Okay, now
we
I
should-
just want to touch on. We're,
Yeah.
we're making our way toward the whale.
Yeah, we are.
Which is great.
We're
I
pretty
just
much
want to. My wife and I were watching the Affair on Showtime,
Oh, yeah.
which I think is a really, really great show. And then you
Me
come
too.
on for season 3,
Yes.
and it's a precursor to your skill at the whale or whatever you've done throughout your career, because you must have got a lot of heat for that character, Gunther, this damaged, sadistic prison guard, and all of a sudden there's Brendan doing his thing. So it really stood out for me, and I really recognize that's Brendan Fraser. I mean, he's killing it. So did you get that feeling from that part?
The conceit for that was that he was a doppelganger. He was the bookending character, and it's lifted straight out of it's creepy German fairy tale lore. The doppelganger is your other half. Doesn't necessarily have to be your twin other half, but looks like you and is there to teach the protagonist something about themselves, and they're doing it through the use of violence. So that was Gunther, and that's evidenced in the Rashomon story quality of like what really happened from different perspectives that the affair was structured on. When you would pick up little clues of, all right, Noah's car got
Noah, yeah.
His car got bashed into by Gunther, who was trying to chase him down. He saw him in the rearview mirror, but he pulls over and he thought it was a vision, but the camera pulls back and there's no damage on the bumper. So did it really happen or not? And then by story's end, he gets out of jail and confronts him in his own home. And it turns out the guy may have just been a well-meaning social worker all along, who worked in the jail and wanted to make sure that the inmates had a structured plan when if they got out. And he was confronted by him on his own front lawn. And you should be left wondering, did that really happen that way? And I think that was the perfection of that show, because they did that in so many ways, from retelling a story from different characters' perspectives.
Her point of view, his point of view. But it's interesting to me, not being any kind of sort of dramatically trained actor, is that you do all this stuff, prep work in your head, and then you just stand there as Gunther, and we as viewers just know a lot's going on. You're gone, and this guy has got tons of shit going on. So it's just fun to watch.
Thank you.
It's interesting to pick
I appreciate
different places to show up too, like in The Affair, which is a hit show, and then he's in there. Just
that's why
more
you never went totally
surprise.
away. There's always you're showing up in really kind of high quality stuff throughout the, what do you call it, the post-knots?
Not
2012 to
around
now.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I did take a step back to slow down. My life had taken a different path at that point too. I had kids. I'd moved across the country. There's some legal action in my life, personally speaking, and that, for better or worse, it's something you must contend with, and it takes your focus away from what your aspirations professionally are. But you'd go mad if you didn't have a job, right? So I always had something to do, whether it was with the affair or some other project. And also, I don't know if I could have maintained the level of expected success that I had up until that point, because you fall out of favor if your film doesn't reach, I don't know, a magical number or something like that. And you don't know what the rules are. You don't know if you've been fired or you just won't be rehired. Yeah. So you got to take it in control of it yourself.
Being someone who had a botched bypass and had career difficulties, I just wonder how you process that period of not needing to go into it personally, but it's sort of on record that you had troubles and various things. Same with other people. How does it affect you now? You look back at, hey, Brent, were you proud of? You were courageous. You made the right choices.
I'm glad for everything that happened the way that it did, because I couldn't be the individual who I am now without having gone through the paces that way before. If this kind of acknowledgement that I'm seeing or receiving right now had happened 20 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to I wouldn't have had the emotional tool belt of psyche to deal with it. I do now because I have a context. I know why I do this. It's because I got kids now. And that just chemically changes everything every choice you make. It gives it that's the reason why. The rest of it was just about desperation and fun and trying to stay with
I think that's where I'm at.
A trend. Desperation and fun, or staying with a trend.
That's the title of his Showtime special.
Desperation and fun. It took Brandon to find a good title for me. I go, that's it. That sums it all
Quick,
up.
let me write that down.
So it's sort of like your own mortality, or putting your kids first in your brain all the time. And for me, when I
did that
had
too.
I was like, oh, you can really check out of here at any time, So I was like, oh, please, can I get to 60?
Oh, you mean you can check out, meaning you
because my issues were at 42. I'm perfect now, never had a heart attack. That's all. It's in my book.
I recall, Dana, and you look fantastic. You look really healthy.
You look hot.
Thank you. I know. Anyway, but I was curious about that, and that makes total sense. And so you're back at the table in a way, and you're saying it makes sense. All this emotionality you went through and this whole trajectory, you're able actually to grasp it. Because I got an Emmy once, and Bob Hope handed it to me.
Wow.
And I wasn't really there.
You had an out-of-body experience with it?
Out of body, but I couldn't really. Me and Emmy, I'm just from Carl.
And you're like, am I the good guy that's supposed to get an Emmy right now? When I look at everyone's so great,
when I was on the cover of Rolling Stone, I felt nothing. I just I couldn't grasp it. I'm just saying that
talk about that a little more, because it kind of happened to me a little bit last night.
Oh, good.
Oh yeah,
great.
the Critics' Choice.
And I were kind of no. Yeah. Well, can I say one thing about Anthony Hopkins again? Just by accident. Because he was kind of doing TV movies, and then he read the script. This will take very fast. Hannibal Lecter or whatever, Silence of the Lambs, and he put it down after 5 pages. He said, "I didn't want to read anymore because I might not get the part because it was so perfect."
Wow!
And he thought he would think to himself, "What would it be like to be in a big Hollywood film? Oh, wow, that must be amazing." So he does Hannibal Lecter, wins the Oscar. He's in Times Square. He looks up, Silence of the Lambs, Anthony Hopkins lying around the block. And he says, and I felt nothing.
Oh.
So it's hard. You're out of body in a way. You're all these awards you're getting and 10-minute standing ovations. I would find it to grasp it. You feel like you're in a fever dream or something?
No, sometimes, but that's just my own insecurity coming to take over me. And the best advice I'm getting from friends and family and all that is just stay in your own boots. Just take the moment in. Yeah. And I know that has value because I couldn't appreciate that stuff earlier on. I can now.
Yeah. Well, I think that for all of us, because, I'll cry in my car sometimes, just like for a minute, when just things overwhelm you. Yeah. And David is there usually at the same time. No, but so when you're that raw with people and it's so authentic, I know that's such a cliche word now, it touches all of us.
Yeah.
because we're feeling the weight of it. You can't watch your acceptance speech. And I couldn't, by the end of The Whale too, it was just so overwhelming. Yeah. And so whatever you went through maybe informed you to bring us these gifts.
It has to have had value or gotten into your body. And The Whale was shot during the time of COVID also. So, and there's this, tiny set, 2-bedroom apartment. We rehearsed on a sound stage with a taped out floor for 1-to-1 model. So we really knew our jobs pretty well.
Say 1-to-1 model? So it's like exactly taped off what the set's going to be.
Like you would rehearse a play, for instance. Darren wouldn't even let us cross the tape. We had to use the entrance, taped out entrance.
Like there's a wall there.
Yeah. Okay. You would walk into the wall. Don't cross the tape.
Darren Aronofsky.
Aronofsky.
Him too.
Sheesh.
I'm not good. I went to state school.
I'm
not. We're from Montana. We don't put 2 and 2 together too easily.
I'm Brendan Fraser. How do you do?
Brendan Fraser's here. I mean, it's almost like.
I always thought, just to touch on what you just said, it would be harder to me, I think, if you were on Friends. It's like a show like that. The first thing out of the gate is so huge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you don't realize it might not be like that anymore.
How do you follow that up?
And how do you follow? It must screw with your head. And when you get like one line in something and then you get this, and you sort of go up and have, everyone has career ups and downs, that you do appreciate when it's going good because you go, it can go away. You didn't know before, but now
I still feel like someone's going to walk in the door and accuse me of fraud, basically. And I have imposter syndrome. Like you feel like I should be feeling something.
I guess it's normal. Jimmy Stewart and Henry Fonda said that's it. Every movie.
They haven't found me out yet.
Yeah. Dana
has
and I won't even
insurance.
do the impression.
I guess we're right on schedule then, guys.
We're David.
Tell him. Now listen, people don't know this. The Whale got a 12-week standing ovation. By the way, I will say it's funny when I hear like a 3-minute standing ovation, then 6, until I go, what are these people doing? Do they bring a lunch? Because they're clapping going, are you sitting down? Because I loved it, but I have to go to the valet now. Like, it's 15.
Pace yourself to do
It's a lot of work.
Well, and Brandon's watching him going, are you done? I get it. You liked it. Now my feet are hurting.
I was trying to leave the theater and I thought we were almost out the doors in Venice, and Darren's like, no, get back, take a bow. I'm like, really? All right, fine. So I did. I took a bow. It wasn't, but what you don't see is I was looking at 1,200 people, and they're all crying and they're Italian and stuff, and they're doing this. You can't not.
So was that a moment? I was just curious about this when I see that. Like you do the movie, so everyone's starting to get you hyped up. Hey, I got to admit, hey, you're awesome at this, right? It's starting to happen. But then when you show it to an audience and you get that kind of response, then okay,
like it's real.
It's as great as people are telling me,
right?
And so see why that would be a waterworks moment, maybe even more than
because it's proof they actually like it. It's not just some agent or somebody telling you that it's good. You're great in it.
Are you having a sense memory right now?
I was just no.
Because that.
Oh, no, wait. I am now. Now I am. No.
Okay. Because it feels like that would be the first. What was the first one that you showed it to, where you were with the audience and they
Venice
okay.
Film Festival,
1,200 seat theater.
I don't have the number of seats, but there were many people.
And you have no idea how it's going to go.
I know that I've seen it. I know that after you finish watching this film, the credits roll. And people are still rooted to the spot. And I don't say that in the same kind of like blowing smoke kind of way. Agents go, well, I loved it, man. None of that.
This one's legit. I was the whole time just
riveting.
I felt like I needed to reconnect a few sockets and cables after I saw it. And I'm in the thing. And
it's not, it doesn't let up. Your daughter in is wonderful.
Sadie Sink.
Sadie Sink is
from
tremendous.
Stranger Things. You and her
Liz
together is that energy is magic. The two of you.
She came in, coming in hot, and she did not let up. She was tough too. She was tough.
The estranged daughter.
She's, first thing, Sadie is a genuine article. I watch this kid winning the game ball every single day at a front row seat. Her talent presages her years. And I'm like, where'd you come from? And she is, as Darren describes her, she's like a jewel. You look at it one way, it's interesting and new and beautiful and all that. And there's a new facet. And she was just consistent, a stone cold professional in her approach. Just always gold star performance. I could say nice things for the rest of her time here. But Sadie, is also a young woman who has a big family. Her father is a football coach. He's got a handshake on him, like gripping a handful of channel lock pliers. Like, are you a stonemason? Like, ouch. And it's just him introducing himself. So she comes from a real strong family. And she has this gift. It has to be. Yeah. Her approach to playing this part was, and I saw it. She never went in for the trope of an angsty teenager. She understood that this girl is talented as a character, but doesn't know it yet. She has a lot of understandable rage that comes from her hurt. Charlie did something that really, really wounded this kid. And he didn't have to pay the bill on it until it confronts him and life doesn't. That's the movie.
You invited the bill being paid.
Exactly. So she comes back and she's demanding of to get what she needs. Sadie's focus on that was never to crack until the moment when the spell gets broken in a way, when he finally crests his Mount Kilimanjaro of making his apology to her. And come see the film. But that's the moment. I'm
welling up just thinking about that part because first of all, watching it from different eyes, my dad left when I was 4 and my brothers were 6 and 8. So, and he didn't come around, and then he came back later and he didn't really want to make up. He just came around. And so I was the one sort of pushing the reconciliation, just because you don't have your dad. Yeah. And so there was themes in that movie that hit me in different ways. And also just the fact that it is just a very well-crafted, and the woman that takes care of you, Liz, I think is her name.
Hong Chow.
Yeah, she was magic as well. It's in movies that are brilliant, that are great, and I give it up to the writer, director, and all the performers.
Samuel D.
You
Hunter.
can't imagine anyone else playing any other part.
No.
That's a great movie. That's always the sign of it. No one else could have done what you did.
I believe that character should have its own movie. Yeah. I want to know who Liz was at work in her other life.
Right, because she just comes in.
Such a likable character.
And there's more that Hong can say in between the lines, in the pauses and the silences, than any of the dialogue she's speaking, just by her face and how she drinks in who she's speaking to, almost as if like she's listening with her pores or something.
Well, there's parts in there, and you can always tell us to cut something out if it feels like it's too much. But remember the part, Dana, where she's talking about her truck, and it's such a curveball, like you're getting it from all sides, and it's just like, oh my God, what a fucking mess. That was tough to take, all that. So, listen, it got me. I kept starting and stopping it because I had to gather myself. Brendan, I'm a comedic performer. I was doing sold out shows, other people's words, in big theaters. And it was hard to regain the funny bone. But like you, very talented. And I got through it. Dana?
I just want to ask, because I'm fascinated how great movies get made. I remember asking Joe Pesci once, do you know when it's great?
Yeah.
How do you do it? I mean,
what did he answer?
He goes, hey, you lock in. That's how you do it. You just fucking lock in, He said something once that I knew he'd done. He goes, sometimes some guys don't want to fight. You know what I say? Sugar bowl across the nose. And you could tell he'd done that move. He's not a big guy, but
doesn't matter.
But he says you lock in. So for me, when you're shooting the whale, how does Darren approach that? So he's got these diamond gems. You're in your thing. You're this big giant person, and you're just so locked in. Does he do you a lot of takes? Do you ask for more takes? Is he?
He likes to shoot a lot of takes, and
and that's okay with you.
Look, we're all there once anyway. Yeah. We knew, like I said, we knew our jobs from the rehearsal process. So you made your discoveries and you did your bonding, made your mistakes before you walk up, instead of just a bunch of actors showing up, going, it would be really cool, and looking at the sides every morning. No, we knew how to play the music
because it was a play.
Musicians. Yes, precisely, and for that. Each take, because it's a tiny set, it's a 2-bedroom apartment. We're like a submarine crew on top of each other, and because of the exigencies of playing that character, and I'm wearing a great deal of makeup and apparatus and costuming and harnessing, and whether it was a man whose body is big like Charlie's, or if I was in an alien costume or something, they're really kind of the same approach. It's suit performing, and so I figured, we're here. Let's just keep doing it again. Darren, he would just keep shooting. We were also shooting like everyone does now on digital. So there's no more film. There's no magazine to change.
Just keep going.
It's like a light switch. Just turn it on. And you can do them on a loop. And if something's off on a take, just back up the camera and go again. And I think that would get him a lot of variety. And but in Hong's case, he would just kind of go, okay, well, we already got it. You know what? Just show off. Impress me. He loved her so much. It wasn't, you would try, and it was really finessing many takes to find out what's the best way to do it. He was never shooting for variety, with me at least.
And you could almost do it different ways. Like there's different colors and layers in each take, and you're like, he's got to go back and pick which is the best one. Because sometimes I think that was a good one. Next one you go, that was good at the beginning. Oh, we nailed that part. On different movies, but this one, I'm sure he's got in his head what he wants. It's hard. It would be hard with that emotion, which is a lot of your stuff, and humor.
It's very emotional.
To get through take after take. That would be harder for me. Because you have to get there.
One day at a time. I think you got to eat an elephant one bite at a time.
At least it was in one location. Was kind of nice.
Yeah, where was it?
We shot in Newburgh, New York. Across the mighty Hudson. It was frozen at that time of year, so cold there, in a motorcycle museum in the lower half of...
and I'm sure you said this on press junkets, but so it was 3 hours in probably and 3 hours out? 4.
Oh,
and how many to get out?
An hour. But that's okay. I mean,
shoot for 12 minutes a day.
I had a guy, Kevin Yeager, who's brilliant on this, a very goofy movie. No one saw Master of Disguise.
I love Master of Disguise.
Hey!
Wait a minute. Let me can I record this?
Master of Disguise. I'm the Master of Disguise.
It was
anyone we interview that mentions it gets a little.
It was very, very silly. But he like 8 hours with me sometimes.
Wow. 8. Honest.
Yeah.
In which character? Do you remember?
Well, it was the Turtle Man. I'd get there at 3:30 or 4 sometimes. Oof. He would spray spackle, very detailed on my hands and stuff.
Yeah. Was he built? What are they putting appliances on you that were already built?
Appliances on when I did Quint from Jaws. Robert Shaw, Shark Go in the Water. That was a big one.
Right.
Look exactly.
And I'm encased in rubber. I don't know if you had a situation. I'll ask you in a second. And they said Barbra Streisand's here today because James Brolin was playing the father. Mm-hmm. So I had lunch with Barbra Streisand, but I'm in full prosthetic Robert Shaw makeup the whole time. Weird, yeah. There was no time for me to get out. So do you have goofy agents or people come by? You're completely Charlie. You're fully your guy. And then you're talking as Brendan. It was a little weird.
There were moments of that. Yeah. But if we weren't like in the production or the family, there weren't that many visitors anyway. There actually 0 because it was COVID restrictions and all that. I think David from A24 came around and just put his head into my cooling tent and say hi.
My cooling tent.
Yeah, I did. I had a cooling tent with a Barker lounger.
Yeah.
Because you can't get up and run to lunch. You have to
I needed to be wheeled the 70 or so steps from the chair to the set, to the chair, to the set.
I won't say anything more about the movie, but I could see
right.
that.
We're talking about the movie The Whale, which is doing very, very well box office wise, I've read. I mean, it's getting a big audience for an indie film.
It's hard to make adult, thoughtful dramas at the moment. I hope they'll turn around. It used to be that's all you could make if you wanted to do something small. It was a thinky piece that went to a film festival and then you hoped for distribution or something like that. But with streaming and all the different ways to consume content.
After rehearsal, how long did it take?
After what?
After you were done with rehearsals, how long did it take to actually shoot it?
I think we had like 30-something days, not including the weekends, but 30, 32 days.
Okay.
But we shot mostly chronologically, which was really helpful.
That's fun. Yeah, that really helps.
Through.
I wouldn't say it's a fun movie, but I'd say that helps. That helps.
Well, good is good. I'm wondering when the first time you did the makeup test and you became the character, and when you looked in the mirror, obviously the thing is you start to go, What was your reaction? Was it emotional almost?
It
or?
was actually funny you should ask.
So I think
the first test was at the Protozoa office, and Adrian Moreau is the designer of this makeup. He's brilliant, and getting into it for the first time, it was a big labor to get all the parts from Montreal and all that. And Darren looked over my shoulder and he said, "For the rest of your life."
What does that mean?
That's what I thought. What does that mean? And then I thought, I know what you mean, actually, because you can't really divorce yourself from me creating this character for better or worse.
Hope you remember it.
Yes, you can be remembered for something for the rest of your life for any number of reasons.
Well, there's never been a movie that explored people who suffer from obesity.
Not in this way.
No,
I thought about this long and hard. I remember
not this way. Right? Yeah,
the closest I could think of, and this might be reaching for it, was Dom DeLuise in Fatso.
Oh, interesting.
It was called
more of a
Fatso?
broad comedy from the 80s, right, or 70s.
It was really emotional too.
Yeah,
and I drew inspiration from John Candy in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah.
Do you recall when they were he was deriding him, and he says, "Go ahead, you can. I'm a big guy. You can take a shot at me.
Yeah,
but I like me. My wife likes me. I'm good enough." I mean, and he looked like he was going to crack in that moment, and he probably was. And that was a beautiful piece of acting right there. I don't think we've seen that kind of sensitivity attached to owning who you are when you live in a larger body like that.
Yeah, and I love that he was a college professor, and there was a heartache always underneath almost the entire. It was just there. You didn't have to play it.
Even when you're being light, like you're being light with everyone, you're saying, "I'm sorry." But it is all in really your face. So the suit kind of goes away after a while because you're just watching you to see what's going on.
That's the hope, because in absence of it, being a success with our finely tuned brains seeing makeups versus CGI creations, and you can tell where the dotted lines are, and you automatically go, you have to make a decision about suspension of belief. I'll let that one slide. But with this, it was a straight ahead analog makeup, with the exception of maybe a light digital curative, if like a piece of fabric on your shirt was acting up in its own movie or whatever, that we'd fix that later. There was a scene when on the bib sort of shape of the collar, when Charlie goes down the hallway to go to bed, he takes his shirt off before, and anyway, that was the full suit. It was very heavy, and anyway, apart from that, what you see was what you got. But if it didn't work, there was no movie, and the rule was, this is a makeup and costume that will obey the laws of physics and gravity. It will not be what we've seen so frequently, which is
a light foam
Halloween costume kind of silhouette that an athletic actor wears, and you sort of defy gravity and bounce around the way. And I mean, that's a different movie. It's a different genre. I have mixed feelings about what's funny about that and what's not.
No, you look like it was very belabored to do anything.
That guy was ill. He was not well.
You really, I mean, when you were wheezing and I felt suffocated. I was really, and when the heroic moment with his daughter where he's, I don't want to give away the ending, but when he gets up, that put me in a puddle of tears. I'm feeling it right
it's
now.
It's having the strength to get to your feet and do what you need to do.
Just someone who loves his daughter so much, and it's impossible, and he's going to do it anyway. And anyway, you should see it, folks. If you like great drama.
If you like great movies, my God, geez.
Sorry, so you got me again,
Thanks,
Brendan.
Dana.
What do you got for Brett? I think we should let him go on his flight.
There you go.
Brendan's a very nice dude, and
Brendan
he came
Fraser
over on the way to go to more stuff in London about the whale.
On another human note, everyone, there's so many awards in our lives growing up. You're Canadian, you speak French, but there's the Academy Awards. I mean, you've already nominated Golden Globe. You've won Critics' Choice. I don't know how many more there'll be, but do you let your mind wander to that idea of an Academy Award?
No, I can't. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I can't read those tea leaves any better than you and me or anyone can. I laugh at the prognostication that goes on because nobody knows shit. Nobody knows anything.
No, it's always a surprise.
Disabuse yourself of having the inside track. You do not.
No, nobody knows. You do have to keep that attitude.
Yes.
Right.
It was Herman Melville who wrote, "I know not all that may be coming, but come what may, I will go to it laughing."
Yes.
I lived by that since Venice once and now. A few other maxims and idioms along the way. Another one being ignorance is the parent of fear. It's better to know, better to go towards the risky things that we're reticent to know about or learn about, so that you have a fully formed opinion about it, a more well-informed opinion, than just ignoring it and condemning it early on and remaining frightened.
Yeah.
That's, again, Melville, 1851.
Moby Dick.
Exactly.
With Gregory Peck.
That too.
Saw it as a little kid. Was always blown away by
Did
it.
you just do Gregory Peck?
Gregory Peck. I've kissed bigger lips than yours. I'm Gregory Peck. I'm Henry Fonda. I can do these guys, but no one knows what they talk like. Yeah, I know a lot about a GAF projector. Now, you're a Polaroid camera. GAF. Anyway, I just do the voices. But, you know, those Rich Little voices, those old movie stars.
I love Rich
The
Little.
only one you could do now is Jimmy Stewart because of It's a Wonderful Life. Kid came up to me, hey, you did the It's a Wonderful Life guy. But the rest are all
fade now,
gone.
They don't know who they are. They have no
No, it's
frame of
okay.
reference. Is that right?
Our
They
first
don't.
movie stars.
I still do Nixon in my act. It seems to.
Can we get a taste?
No, my accent's stupid.
Isn't that the standard?
That's it.
No, that was Nixon was a good go-to.
Alderman and Dean, they were the ones that led me down that path.
Well, good luck to you. I think anything that happens from now on is all gravy. So it's
Brendan,
been great. Great talking to you.
I'll give you one little thing, and
Yeah,
I'll
give
do it
one
as
little
Hans
thing.
and Franz. Fee, fi, fo, fum.
Oh boy.
I smell an Oscar nomination.
Oh God.
Sorry, he's laughing. We have to have a sense of humor
Can
about
I
it.
just in memory of my late mother, who loved the church lady because she was church. She
really?
was church lady.
Oh, that's funny. Well. We're up there getting our awards, aren't we? We think we're a little bit superior to a little man I like to call Jesus. We like ourselves, don't we? We're having a good old time at the party circuit where alcohol is served and the sluts there are plenty. Yeah, I don't know where she came from, but that's I'm flattered that your mom got some joy out of that character, and my mother-in-law is Irish Catholic, loves it as
They would
well.
have got along great.
They loved it. No one took offense to it, even in the Bible Belt. They just loved. But it's just fun to be superior. We like to talk on our little microphone, don't we, David? Yeah. We've got a podcast, and we feel superior. I don't know where it's an idiotic character, but Brendan Fraser exudes likability. I'm so happy that he's laughing right now because it's been he got me. David sobbed a little bit. We laughed, but
So
anyway.
I saw the whole thing, you jackass. The whale?
Well, just everything here when we started thinking about that last moment in the film, it still gets me.
I don't want to talk about that because it's part of the movie, but I was gotten all across the board. I kept stopping because I was like, oh my God, this is catching me off guard. Over and over.
So what can we? How can we sum up? We appreciate you. I mean, the whole world is, as you know, just loves you. Like, everyone's happy to see you.
It's not always the case.
That's really nice, and I know that
it is. You've
been through everything, and it just seems that's show business, and then there's life, and it's hard to, kind of puff yourself up at this point and go, hey, damn right,
I will never let that.
And it's never going to happen, but at least I would just enjoy it as much as you can.
You got a little run going,
I agree. Thank you.
As much as you can.
I appreciate
Ride it out
a lot.
People will say nice things to me sometimes, and I'm like, oh, okay. You're blowing up, Dane. That's my sister. You're blowing up again. I go, really? I don't think so. But so I know, but for you, your training and what you've shared with us about your, quoting Melville and what you're doing, I mean, that's the true path. Like what's,
He knows what he's doing.
what's the work, In the end of the day, you did this brilliant piece of acting in this film. That's all we have.
Thank you.
Look, I summed it up.
Thank you.
All right.
And I have a business manager to introduce to you. No, do you have any advice?
No, he's doing good so far.
Yeah. So anyway, well, good luck in these next few weeks going through the circuit, and we only wish you the best. And we also really want to thank you for coming on our podcast.
Nice.
It's my absolute
Very
pleasure.
cool.
No, it's very, very flattering.
You got to talk toward the end. I thought that was a big deal.
We tried to interrupt. I said to David before, let's cut him off 50% of the time.
We don't have to coach us on that.
No, we hope you. Is there anything else you feel you want to say say to the world?
Just thank you.
Because we have a really big following.
Just thank you very, very much.
All right.
And,
No, it was a
do
complete
enjoy
pleasure.
Fly on the Wall with Dana Carvey and David Spade.
There you go.
Brendan Fraser, thank you.
Hey, what's up, flies? What's up, fleas? What's up, people that listen? We want to hear from you and your dumb questions.
Questions, ask us anything. Anything you want.
You can email us at flyonthewall@cadence13.com. Okay, here's an AMA, guys. Dana, get prepped. First of all,
pick a sunglass. David, I'm going to let you pick for this segment.
I don't mind the little... No, I like those better.
All right.
Okay.
Twins.
Love the podcast. The recent Farley tribute was great. Sent me on a YouTube deep dive of Farley's time in SNL. What a legend. Question for David. You mentioned a movie you and Chris were pitched shortly before he passed called The Tree. Do you remember specifics? Yes. His name is Lance Witchy, pronounced like witchy woman. That's what he says. Okay. The Tree, Dana, was a movie. It was pretty typical of Spade Farley formula. I like this. I was a stiff DC political guy climbing up like an assistant, whatever, low man on the totem pole. I'm getting married. It's a week for my wedding, week before Christmas, or whatever. After Thanksgiving, they say they want a tree to be delivered to, across the country. I order it. There's a big screw up. It's my fault. I hear from the president himself. You go get the tree and bring it back. Make sure it gets here. So I have to fly across the country. I have to get back for my wedding. And Farley is the lumberjack that's in charge of the tree. And he wants to make 18 stops on the way there. And I don't want to. So we fight along the way. And it's sort of a good device.
Kind of like trains, planes, and automobile, like two misfits on a journey. Is that script still around?
It might be. I
Because
thought
we're
later.
two misfits that could go on a journey.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even have to act.
I'm up for journeys. And Melissa McCarthy, I thought might be funny at one time for that. But it just sort of went away. We both had read it. We had done, we'd just done 2. So we thought, let's give it a breather. But at the end, we were like, the tree was pretty funny. We could probably shape that or get somebody on that. So anyway, it didn't work out. But that was kind of what it was.
I never asked you this, but what was the difference, you think, in terms of like Black Sheep versus Tommy Boy?
Nothing.
I mean, did you sense that maybe Black Sheep wasn't, because Wayne's World 2 didn't do as good as Wayne's World 1, but...
Well, the problem there was Tommy Boy, the quick stories, which we're not good at quick stories, but it sort of fell into place. Pete Siegel's director, Fred Wolf was on the set. We're just adding jokes. We're just all screwing around.
So,
no one's
it was
watching
light
the farm.
and easy, and then the pressure in the second one.
Second one, we got your director from Wayne's World.
Penelope, she's good.
And she didn't want me in Black Sheep. So... And she's admitted this. She said I wasn't good and she didn't like me in Tommy Boy. And she said she just wanted to do a movie with Chris, so she would do this movie.
Oh, well,
And that's when and she took 40 pages out of the script that Fred wrote and we all chipped in on. So we were more separated in the movie and it wasn't as fun back and forth. I still like Black Sheep, but I'm not here to hammer her down. I'm just saying.
No, I'm sure
that's what it
has
turned
her side of
into.
it. I didn't mean to bring up something negative.
No,
I would just say that
I think I better go.
budgets are also... David, if I could for a moment.
Yeah.
Budgets can be the enemy of comedy. Like, so the first movie, they threw Mike and I as Wayne and Garth on the hood of the car. And we're going, do you ever be attracted to Bugs Bunny or whatever? And it was like, took 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Do you ever...
Wasn't overthought.
If she's a babe. If she were president, she'd be Abraham Lincoln. So it was just one take, go away. Second movie, it was like a 3-day shoot, multiple cameras. We're on that car for hours.
CGI.
Sucking and squeezing the life out of it. So anyway,
That's
no one's fault.
And a lot more pressure, and a lot of more cooks in the
more
kitchen.
More pressure.
Saying,
but
we think this way could be
great.
funny. This overthought, over-tested. And so I still liked a lot of Black Sheep, and Chris was definitely funny in it, and there's some funny parts. Penelope did add one thing I have to give her where we were in bunk beds and when she said, I'm going to do this thing where he falls on you. And I go, we didn't shoot that. And she goes, I did it with a camera trick. And when I saw it, I was like, there's no fucking way I would even know that was a camera trick. It looks so real. And so
reverse.
I will give her that. That was very funny. And a great additional joke, which is what you're killing for in those movies. Just get a house laugh. So that's it. And thank you for asking. This has been a podcast presentation of Cadence 13. Please listen, then rate, review, and follow all episodes. Available now for free wherever you get your podcast.
No joke, folks. Fly on the Wall has been a presentation of Cadence 13, executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Chris Corcoran of Cadence 13, and Charlie Finan of Brillstein Entertainment.
The show's lead producer is Greg Holtzman, with production and engineering support from Serena Regan and Chris Basil of Cadence 13.
David, our guest today. You're gonna have a good time, people. Brett Goldstein, most famously known as Roy Kent, the gruff alpha male on Ted Lasso, which you got 2 Emmy Awards for.
Yes, it was good to talk to another gruff alpha male for me. It was nice. This dude has done everything. From England, he has done Doctor Who. He has done Derek. I think Derek is the one with Ricky Gervais.
Yes.
Yeah. And then as of late, he's filming right now a rom-com with J-Lo, which he wrote with a friend of his. And he's doing Shrinking with Harrison Ford, Jason Segel, you know. So just nonstop. He has a deal with we can go on and on.
Warner Bros. Has a stand-up special. He writes and produces all these shows, and then he's in them and stuff. He'll tell us an interesting story about how he got cast.
Yes, we made him do that story, and he was gracious. He's actually talking to us on his break from the movie on a weekend, which was very generous of him. And I had a good some good laughs with him. Obviously, he's a comedian, so we cracked up, but we dissected the comedy special like we always do, and which is coming out soon. What is it called, Dana?
His comedy special? Oh, that's called The Second Best Night of Your Life.
That's right. It's a cool name.
HBO
coming out.
He's a very curious person as a writer, so he asked us a lot of questions. So we did.
So
talk
bear
a lot.
with that.
He was kind of curious about our situation. He has a podcast called Films to Be Buried With as well. That's out there. He's super busy, highly successful, and completely humble.
So a lot of fun and very humble, and asked us questions. So don't get mad about that, because I know but it's fun if they're interested. And we had a great 3-way chat. It was like being at dinner, and here he is.
Guys, how are you?
How are you, Brett?
Hey, somebody looks like their picture.
Nice to see you again. Of course, you remember when you met me.
Yes.
You do?
I remember both. Well, I haven't had a long chat with either of you, and I'm a big fan, but I've introduced David on stage.
Oh, yeah. The improv.
Interesting.
I remember that. I told Dana that.
We just ran into each other at one of those loud parties. It wasn't a time to, hey, I really like Ted Lasso. Really? Yeah, I know Jason Sudeikis. Really? Okay, see that. I hate those parties, man. That fucking music drives me nuts.
Whoa.
Hey,
I'm coming in hot.
Yeah. What party was it?
It was one of the SNL parties.
Yes, that's right. That's where it was. And I wanted to say I love Headwound Harry, but it was too loud.
I'm exhausted right now because I've looked at all what you're doing out there right now. It's like,
I'm exhausted because I read your credits.
What's going on, man?
Yes. Busy boy.
He's like, yes, and that's why I have to jump off right now. Thanks.
Can I ask you a question? Like, what, I mean, these are sort of cliche in a sense, but I guess like in 2017, 2018, you were kind of regular famous. You'd done some things, and then Ted Lasso, and you became extra famous.
Yeah.
What year? How long have you been extra famous? This has been like 3 years since people are like, "Hey, are you?"
And do you remember the day?
It was a weird thing where we did lockdown, and when we came out of lockdown, we suddenly were pointed at in the street.
Oh, so it was playing the whole time.
Just pointed at you. Hey,
we were like,
that's him.
In lockdown? What's on our face? Something happened.
If they said to you, this is a deal I would take.
Yeah.
We're going to lock you down for 2 years, but you'll be super famous after. I would say, okay.
You'd say that.
That's kind of what happened.
Kind of a dystopian nightmare, and you just were emancipated from it into love and human beings being so excited to see you.
Oh, that's a very nice way of thinking about it. How have you two coped with being famous for as long as you have been famous, which is a long, long time now?
David, you go first.
Well,
we like it when guests ask questions. By the way. Thank you.
I'm glad we got through the Brett part of this interview.
Yeah, we're done with the Brett, but we get
you can get a cup of tea, sit back, and 20 minutes from now,
tell me everything.
No,
How old were you? How old were you two? Because you were both. How old were you two when you were?
My I got an SNL and I had kind of regular fame. It was in the 80s. But then I had Wayne's World, got an Emmy for doing political impressions. Anyway, I'm just saying everything whooshed up, and I was on the cover of Rolling Stone. So for that year, it was peak fame, and I found it exhausting, just basically exhausting because I'm kind of a people pleaser, and so anyone who wanted to give me the time of you know. So I think I'm David, right? It's David. Mm-hmm. I think David would have a different journey.
Mine was very gradual, Brett, because stand-up, middle act, wasn't even a headliner when I got on SNL. Did an HBO like young comedian special, so I got a drop of attention. But got on SNL, but didn't do that much for a while. Dana kind of came out of the gate big, and I took a while. And then leaving that, and then a movie, and then another movie. I think it was after SNL, after some movies, and then a sitcom called Just Shoot Me, and then I got the cover Rolling Stone. And the cover Rolling Stone is a very hard one over here. Especially if you're a comedian. So I feel like that was when people say, when were you the most famous? It's such a weird question. And it's always right now because it's accumulation of everything kind of, or people finally caught up to stuff. But that was probably the year, because you don't get that a lot, if ever again. So I really felt like that was a fun one. And Dana got one, maybe got two, I don't know. But
is this why you two are best friends? Because you've both been on the cover of Rolling Stone. Is that
it's part of the club? And if you get on there, we're going to be hanging out a lot.
In the gang. Okay.
Well, I'm just curious. How's the recognition factor in different countries, like Great Britain, compared to Ireland, or because Lasso is
Zimbabwe.
or Ted. I like to shorten the show. Ted is global, so that's a different thing. So, where are you the most?
I mean, there was like the first year we were only recognized in America, but then I think the second year it sort of went. I haven't. Yeah, it's sort of everywhere because I think it's because it's on Apple. Yeah, so it's like. I mean, I haven't checked.
Did England take any? Was there any different feeling than America? America was just sheer joy and bliss. Was England because you were there and your English? Is there any different?
I thought English people wouldn't take to Ted Lasso because it's sincere. So I thought English people
Is that not what plays over there?
No, I thought they were going to be like, you fucking prick, you sincere. Prick.
Oh, you're so fucking earnest. Yeah. Oh, no, I don't like that show. You're so fucking earnest.
Is it a lot of comedy is more insincere?
Well, yeah, or negative, like as in
taking the piss out of people. Snarky.
I'll tell you what was a really interesting thing that happened that I learned is I did this show that no one ever saw. It was like an improvised sitcom with David Hasselhoff, where David Hasselhoff came to England and we were like his fake entourage. And it was
off the record.
Yeah.
Off the record, yeah. And it was really funny. No one ever saw it. It was proper funny. But what was interesting about it is he, as the American, we were like improvising these scenes and he came to us one day and he said, guys, he said, they're making you look like idiots. And we were like, yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. Because
was he worried about you guys looking stupid in a mockumentary?
And it's okay because
we're English.
That's the joke.
It's meant to be funny. Like as in he wanted us all to be heroes. And I was like, that's such an interesting like
right. It's funnier that you guys are all
you guys gave us Monty Python, so it's kind of like doesn't get any better than that. But I do think first it's philosophical alert. No, Ted Lasso, even for America, the earnestness of it, the sincerity of it took us off guard, you know,
Right.
like because people told me to watch it. I go, what? Lasso? I don't know. I was like, kind of like,
Cowboy?
What's it on? Peach Channel 4? No.
Mm-hmm.
So then I watched it and I started seeing it, and it was the chemistry and it, you know, I'm not going to say lightning in a bottle. I'm not going to say that because I don't want to speak in cliches.
It might be.
A great show is when every single person in the cast is the only person you can imagine playing that part. And Ted Lasso had that across the board, in my opinion.
That's very nice. I feel the same way about Just Shoot Me. Can I ask you?
Is that a callback?
Did it make it over there?
Oh, you saw the show?
Yeah. It was on late night in England.
It was on BBC 1285.
Yeah, it was on BBC 1285.
Still getting the checks, eh?
Shit, good. I'm glad you saw Just Shoot Me. It gives me some legitimacy on this call. Thank God.
Yeah. Tell me this. I want to know about you two. Have you done stand-up or shows in England?
No.
I've been invited, but never lined up. But I, how does?
I don't know if it would work.
Why are you scared?
We are scared. I'm scared for sure.
Why won't you come? They'd love you.
I just don't know if my shit would work.
City. I've been there several times. I love everything about it. The West End, you know,
Eiffel Square.
Yeah.
Eiffel Square.
All the biggies, the pyramids.
Leicester Square.
This is, okay, I have to ask, these are just arithmetic questions, but so you got this special that's coming out in a couple of weeks. Second best night of your life. I like the title. That's a good
title. Always hard to get a title.
Yeah. Spade's got one coming out called Dandelion.
Always hard.
Good title. I saw the trailer and the title was explained in the trailer and I was like, respect.
Yeah, because I'm a puss. No one would guess that.
Where did you shoot the special in England?
Oh, in New Jersey. New Jersey.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Shot it at Inglewood.
Bergen Theater, did you?
At the PAC.
Okay.
In Bergen.
And how many people?
It was 2,000 there? Or
2 shows one night?
2 shows one night.
Love it.
So pre-pandemic, you're playing clubs, is that right?
Yeah, clubs and like 50 seaters.
The my favorite size. You can't make money, but I like a 50 seater.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But so then now your life has just went this last 5 years.
It really did. But I think I was sort of. This is why I'm asking what age you were, because I was 38 when I did Lasso, I think.
Okay.
I'd been doing all of this at a low level for a long, long time. So I think I just didn't expect any of it. But then when it happened, it was like, well, I'll be dead soon. So make the most of it.
Yeah. I think it must be nice to go.
Next special. I'll be dead soon.
If you're 38 and you're doing pretty well, you probably go, it probably would have happened by now. And exactly. The odds get higher you can be famous, but then to have a game changer is very rare.
Exactly, yeah. I'd long given up on sort of a big thing happening.
Yeah.
I thought when I got SNL at 31, I'd been in the clubs for 10 years and I'd auditioned for SNL several times in clubs and just thought it was sort of over.
Really?
A lot of things had to come together. They were recasting, and long story short, I got it at 31. And then the show was really on a low point. But by it happened to be the shit. We had to rescue it.
Let's just take this guy. We can't lose.
It wasn't easy. I thought I was going to turn the lights out because every pilot I'd ever done, every show I'd ever done, it failed.
Sucked.
So I didn't want to turn. Oh, you can turn it out now. Okay, that's 8H.
Dana, turn the light out on the way out.
Entire franchise. What else have you got? So I was around that age, 36, when I started to make extra money and be extra famous. And I found it's a Faustian deal in some ways over time. Do you have a financial planner, kid?
He's got a printing press.
I would say to you this. and I don't think I've ever expressed this, I'll just do it very quickly, is that at some point you want a wall of money that's giving you income, not risky investments, not real estate, but liquidity, bonds or something that is giving you a wall of income. So in 10 years from now, you never go on bended knee. You never have to do anything you don't want to do. Your career so far seems like you're in command and control because you're the executive producer, you're the writer. So you wouldn't have those issues. But whatever money you think you want, you just want to be completely done by 50. So you have 9 years, 8 years.
Okay, I'm going to play back this podcast and I'm going to have to write out what you just said because you lost me at bonds.
Well, it doesn't matter about bonds. Mailbox money, just money that comes in when you're not working, so that you can pick and choose your projects. That's all. But I think you already. You're most stand-ups just do stand-up and try to get hired. You got a big deal with Warner Bros. I mean, you're already in charge. I think you're doing perfect. I take back what I said. You don't need my advice.
I'm listening to all of it. I have a question for you both about SNL that I'm curious about. Because I've spoken to Bill Hader and I've spoken to Jason and I've spoken to a couple of other people, and everyone tells me, when I spoke to Bill Hader, I said to him how he was making Barry at the time, and he was like writing, executing, directing, producing, all of it. And I said, how do you cope with the pressure of that? That's such a huge, huge undertaking. And he said, anything's easier after SNL.
Oh, wow.
and I wonder if you two feel this way. Like the machine of SNL seems to me so fucking insanely stressful, and sort of the ego of it week by week, that you could be in a sketch, then you're not in a sketch, and you're the king for a night, then it's gone, and then week on week. How did you feel about that?
You know, Bill, who's one of the greats of SNL, we all love. I think maybe what he's saying is that at that point you're on the upswing and you're trying to get to a level where you're not going to give up on showbiz. You know, everything's going on. Like you've all been in that position. We've all been where, am I going to do this forever? Because I just barely making it. And that's the stress of SNL. You're going to get fired every year. No one's treated preferentially, really. And you keep writing and keep proving yourself. With Barry, maybe, which sounds such a hard undertaking, is he's already got to this point and he's been given something, and now it's just not fun, but fun and hard. But maybe there's something. I can't imagine something that hard. SNL was horrible, but it's in the past. But the new thing would seem harder. Like, okay, it's right in front of me. I got to make this work, which luckily he did. Dana, what do you think?
Well, I would say all that is true. It's an emotionally violent sport, SNL. But over time, if you write your own sketches and get some friends together, it might help out, but it's coming from you. And then there's no time for someone to overthink it. Was great for my ADD brain. There was no real direction. You direct yourself. The director's just trying to get the shots by the seat of their pants.
Nothing.
And so you're a master of your fate in some ways. There's whimsy to that, but then you have control. And so when I walked off, I didn't have the confidence. I was being offered multi-millions to do a couple of films that were complete mistakes, because then going from complete control to no control, 100 takes, they edit the way they want. I did this thing in a scene, which I thought, okay, I nailed this. I looked at the monitor, saw it in the film. It's been cut to pieces. What I love about your resume so far is that you're Bill Hader. Bill Hader bet on himself. He could have made a Stefan movie, let's just say 15 million.
Sure.
He could have stayed at SNL or done another variety show. He bet on himself. He just said no. And now he's like, he's a Coen brother, or he's Kubrick.
He can do what he wants,
the second, or he's a Paul Thomas. So what you're doing is already fantastic. You're making shows, you're in control. And the only time I've been really unhappy in show business, like truly unhappy, is being on a set or in a project where you look over at the brain trust around the camera and you're like, oh, we're fucked.
Yeah.
This is not going to work.
Right away it's not working.
So just do what you've been doing. You're in charge of your,
So far, this podcast is really lovely. So thank you very much.
Right. We're going to transcribe
Well, don't let them dangle a shiny arm. You make it so popular that you're tempted to do some movie you don't want to do because all of a sudden it's whatever cartoon money would be, and it wouldn't. The money is only about freedom. The only reason to have money, from my mind, is to have freedom. Freedom to work or not work, freedom to how to work. By the way, I'll just ask you, do you have shiny things that speak to you, like watches, cars? Do you live, which is totally fine?
That's the beauty of it is I always made enough. Before this all happened, I always made just enough. I made enough to pay my rent. I made enough to go to the cinema, which I like doing it. And I made enough for black t-shirts, which is all I wear. That was it. And so when all this happened, look at us. Oh God, all I need is the cover of Rolling Stone and we could be a gang.
How do you? I can't afford that shit.
Why, this one might be.
I have a stupid regular shirt on.
All I wear is
I have a good question for him, Dana. Watch this.
That's good. Fastball coming in.
Okay, Brent, if that's your real name, Brett. So Brett, if England is doing an SNL.
Yeah, they are, right?
England is doing SNL, Dana. Did you know this?
Yeah.
Yes,
that's a big story. We haven't talked about enough.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't think you would want to be on it as a cast member, but what are your thoughts about that? That sounds right. Because I was thinking, what's the equivalent of SNL over there? And then I just thought, oh, wait, I think they're doing one.
They're doing one. Yeah.
They just announced it. Yeah. I think there are so many fucking great sketch comedians and comedians in England that it could be amazing. I think for years, everyone has tried to do an SNL and failed at it. So I think making an actual SNL might be the answer.
Instead of a knockoff.
Yeah, instead of going like Sunday morning recorded. Like they're always trying.
Right.
And I've noticed, I think what they've always made the mistake of is they go to like the Edinburgh Festival and they find a sketch group and another sketch group who aren't friends, don't know each other, and they go, they sort of mix and match random people. Whereas I think if they go to the groups that have chemistry and have built something and put them in stuff and give them some autonomy, I think it could be amazing. It could be. But
I think that's a good observation. I think on SNL, John Lovitz, when I was there, knew Phil Hartman and Jan Hooks, knew these writers, and there was a chemistry that started right away.
And you need it right away. Because that first viewing, people will be like, is this any good? That's the pressure of like, they don't go, you know what, we'll get it gelled around show 15 and they're like, we're gone. So that's the scary part, the pressure, get it right away. And if you have people that work together, that would help. Like they come in with something.
You've got to have it's such a weird thing. It's such a ephemeral thing, but I like SNL because it's like the Muppet Show, right? It is a gang show and it is the chemistry of...
Dana was Fozzie Bear for sure.
It's a sporting event, but the thing about it being live is that it's obliterated all the competition. We used to have so many, mostly tape, but variety shows were huge. I assume in England as well in the 60s and 70s, right. Early. Now they've all disappeared. I tried one in prime time. Martin Short did. All disappeared. There is no live 90-minute comedy show with a really cool band and maybe a movie star or football player host. So, stay to that. Have an athlete host. You just do all that. But you guys, between Ricky Gervais, I'll just leap around here. Peter Sellers, of course, and I already mentioned Monty Python. It's one of your biggest exports. Is comedy.
Yeah. I think it's. I'd be really interested if they fuck it up. I don't know the backness of it. As in, if Lorne's involved, I don't know. Like if it's like.
Would they ship a Tina Fey over to help get it going? Would they do, I don't know what extent they would be involved, because it's a very complicated show to do. And there's got to be some shortcuts of people that have done it forever that can help alleviate the full on stress it would be.
Would you go?
Yeah, let's go.
I would go.
No, I don't think I'm good enough. Dana might be good. Dana should be the first host to sort of tie it all together.
I would go. I would just stay with, there's two lanes of that show. One lane is that you're seeing some unknown people, comedians, come on the show. And so you're watching them evolve and you're kind of rooting for them and seeing them find the audience get more confident. And that is a reality show. So when the show bombs, so to speak, it should be just as interesting as when it kills. Because it's live. Oh, this sketch is bombing. and
It's kind of fun for the audience.
Jake is the guest host, and he's horrible right now.
Oh yeah, he could be the first guest host too. Sorry, Dana, you're pushed out.
We've already had
your second week.
And then an athlete or someone who's never done comedy in their life is forced to do sketch comedy. So if they do it great, that's another secret sauce.
You have a lot of those over there. You could do that.
Those are two.
Have a lot
and then constantly have Paul McCartney sing "Let It Be"
every week.
And J-Lo.
Yeah, every week.
Oh, to promote the movie. We got to hurry up and get this SNL going, though.
Tell me, what's your secret when you're bombing? If the sketch isn't working, what do you do? Do you feel
Dana's bombing if he's on stage?
Well, Will Ferrell famously... No, I could easily. That show can go south in a second, because it's so under rehearsed and live. Yeah. The audience can be weird.
Yeah.
Will Ferrell is famously the most if a sketch starts to bomb, his commitment goes up exponentially.
Goes harder, yeah.
And you just sort of. It's all madness, but it's very much under rehearsed, and there's rewrites right before you go on, and it's you're going to get it right off the cue card, but that's what gives it this chemistry, this excitement, So, and live from London just sounds funny to me. It's a little bit like The Clash, London Calling. Maybe that should be the theme, but live from London, it's like, is there any other town it could be from out there?
Yeah.
Live from Liverpool.
Live from Birmingham. That has to be London.
Has to be London. London calling. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, you're frozen, but with a thumbs up, like you're really pleased about it.
Films to be buried with. We've been doing that for years.
Yes.
And it's really the premise of, and I did think about it, movies that affected you.
It's like the film that made you cry the most, the film that scared you the most, the sexiest.
Exorcist scared me the most.
Yeah.
2001: A Space Odyssey at 13 in a Cinerama Dome in Seattle blew my mind. Basically, didn't have any precursor. Like, what is this about? And everything about that movie. I actually, a few years ago, they did the 50th whatever anniversary. And I saw it 6 times over 2 months at the ArcLight Theater in LA. It's just kind of a spiritual experience.
Yeah.
It's a meditative experience. And I don't know why Kubrick, how he kind of does that. What is the secret of the off-kilter acting? Kind of, how, and the casualness, they're getting the sandwich in the spaceship and all they know is this thing's been around. There's some magic to that film for sure. I think It's a Wonderful Life. I don't know why, but even if I bring this up in casual conversation, I get choked up.
He's back.
He's back. We're talking about It's a Wonderful Life. We're talking about movies. Yeah. It's where that his life, the angel, he sees what it'd be like if he wasn't born. And then he's euphoric and the townspeople show up and someone says to his character, "We heard George Bailey was in trouble." That always stuck with me. We heard, and I've always teared up about that when I bring it up.
You don't have to tear up now.
I could, a little bit.
You are.
There's something about that, So what about you? What movie?
Start crying.
What scared you the most besides Tommy Boy?
Did you see Did you see The Exorcist?
I did see. You know what? I saw The Exorcist when I was young, and I thought it was stupid. And then I watched it.
You got scared later.
Yeah, I got scared like a year ago when I watched it. I was like, "Oh my god, that is so scary." I didn't think it was scary when I was little.
I would never watch that.
How old were you when they saw?
I was like 6, and I was like, "This stupid little girl with her spinning head."
That's
this bullshit.
That's interesting. First
grader. Dana, ask him about.
I will,
because I'm too embarrassed. Ask him when he did that audition, which he's probably talked about for Ted Lasso. Did you film it alone in your room? I have to hear every goddamn detail. That's so funny.
Well, just set the table for you're a writer on Ted Lasso. There's a part, and you're thinking maybe
I'm writer on Ted Lasso.
I love it.
I know you've probably told
it's the best thing you've ever done.
But embellish it this time. Let's get some details.
Right.
Give us extra.
I'll give you one extra detail I don't usually give.
All right.
We're writing it. I get the thought that I think I could do Roy Kent, but I know not a single person in the room is thinking that. Everyone, and I know that if I say it out loud, everyone will be like,
embarrassing. I love it.
It's embarrassing.
You know who'd be good for this?
Yeah.
That's how you start.
If we can't find anyone, I don't think we can.
You know who's
find
actually super talented?
You know, what if he had really big eyebrows? Just a thought, putting it out there. Anyway, I wait till we finish writing, and then I make a self-tape. But what I did with the self-tape, I went to Mosaic, which is my manager's office, and they do...
Oh, in LA?
Yeah, it was in LA, because that's where we were writing.
Oh, okay.
And you know, I don't know if you've done this, but they have whoever the assistants are at the time, they can read in with you and they can...
Oh, right.
So I did my scenes with this Norwegian guy who was like an intern. So the scenes I'm acting with Keely in the original self-tape, it's me going like, Keely, and Keely's like, hello. And it's
It's a dude.
And not even an actor.
Yeah. A sort of deadpan Norwegian man was playing Keely. and I recorded 5 scenes, and I flew back to England. I finished my contract and I flew back to England. And when I got on the plane, I sent Bill Lawrence the tape. And I said, thanks for everything. I said, look, I've been thinking I could play Roy Kent, but I appreciate that no one's thinking this. This is really embarrassing. If this is shit, I will never ask you about it. We can pretend this never happened. But if this is good, here's the tape. And then when I landed, it was like an overnight flight. When I landed, I got an email saying, this is fucking awesome. I'm going to send it to you.
Really?
Wow. Well, I want to have
Bill
a
Lawrence is very
question
cool,
about this, because the character that you play, and we're getting to know you now. So you really did, the body language is so funny and interesting of Roy Kent, you know, and also obviously you went lower, a little more gravelly, and he's sort of an alpha type character, you know. So did you have that in the audition tape, or did that evolve as you kind of got on the set?
I think I had the posture in the tape, because I knew it was all based on a load of things, but I knew he was like a guy who had been told since little, shoulders back, head forward.
Mm-hmm.
He'd been told that. Yeah. And that he was leading, he's ready to headbutt someone at all times, so he's leading. But the voice was halfway there in the self-tape, I think.
And they wanted you to play it up?
No, it just felt right once I was there once you're sort of faced with, it's funny because you know, I'd done this tape with a Norwegian guy in a room, but then suddenly there's 20 men and you have to be
super,
tougher,
dominant.
Yeah.
So what was the line? I mean, what did he say? Something had to happen. I think it was in the audition tape and in the show. Something, or I'm going to start punching something.
Silence, or I'm going to start punching dicks.
And how would Roy Kent? You don't have to do the character. You want me to do it?
I'm like your impression of it, because you're very good.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Now you got me.
I use that line when I'm waiting too long at Cheesecake.
We're going to be silent in here. I'm going to start punching dicks.
I'll punch your dick. Line him up.
You're fucking dick. So you get to swear.
Balls are next.
I remember Sandler did a movie. Sorry. With Paul Thomas Anderson. I go, God, you're so good in that. And he goes, Carvey, I got to swear. You know,
and
fun. So you're yourself. You're on the phone. What the fuck? And so your character. How many swear words per episode?
Are you allotted?
Someone did count it.
I think it's in the hundreds. It's in the hundreds per season.
You got a real Nora on your hands. What about? Do you swear in your stand-up? I don't even remember.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Oh boy. Ooh.
I found that interesting when I started doing gigs in America, smaller gigs when I was first coming out here, and they'd be like, "Do you have a clean set?" And I was like, "What's a clean set?" They don't.
That's so true.
That division in England, it's just standard. It's like
everyone's dirty.
Yeah, but it's also like, what do you mean a clean set? Isn't this an adult evening out.
Right, but some clubs want it clean. That's funny. Or some headliners, when I used to open a middle, they'd say keep it clean, and I'm like, huh? So I always sort of looked at a clean tip because you're also eyeballing doing Letterman or doing a late night show,
yeah, of course.
and you had to be clean. So your manager would say, "You're wasting it because you can't do that bit," and I'm like,
right.
Fudge.
With the level of what you can do on a late night talk show is kind of. But so, what's as far as your special coming out? What's the bit that is the bluest? We call it blue.
I've got a 5-minute bit about the C word and how America is scared of it.
Oh, Brett. My mom just called. She goes, "Oh, you don't need that."
We know we know that about.
My mom doesn't like my own act. I like Dana. He's clever and he's fun,
clean and cheerful.
Oh, come on.
Are you clean? You're clean. Your stand-up clean, Dana. Nice clean boy.
For the most part, there's certain jokes that's kind of, where the punchline is "fuck you" or uses "fuck,"
right? And
then I go, okay. And Jerry Seinfeld doesn't like that. Try to rewrite it where you don't need the word.
What do you need it for? Was that Seinfeld?
Well, it's Seinfeld with a little garble in the back.
With fucking Eeyore. We also both do corporate gigs, me and Dana, and when they say do an hour, do 45 minutes and keep it clean, that's another way we work. And if I watch Dana on these, we do them together sometimes, he's not 100% clean, but you don't even notice it. The whole tone, the whole vibe is fun. And it's really because they said, one guy told me, he goes, "We just say that because Martin Lawrence did 20 minutes on eating pussy." And I'm like, oh, okay, well,
we get where the line is.
That's where the line. Okay, I get. So somewhere under, I got. But that's what they're fearful of. Something happened once where people complain and you go, "I got it." You won't even notice I'm dirty. It's so goofy.
My goal is to get them to laugh at minutia that's been wound down into madness and get them to go with that for an extended period of time. And that's its own sort of pornographic, I mean, you must have bits in your act that maybe you get more laughs than you think they deserve, or less laughs, or ones that you think are the most challenging for the audience in the sense of how abstract they are, or, everything is all the above.
That's very interesting. I guess yes. There would be stuff I wouldn't do if it were a corporate gig for sure. But I still am I think I just fundamentally object to the idea of here is 200 adults in a room, and because it's corporate, they don't want anything rude.
Can they handle it? It's yes, you can handle
their
it.
Children. I'm but they're still people. I think they'll probably really enjoy it. I do I want to do 10 minutes on eating pussy. I do get hands up. I get that.
Everybody has that bit. We've all got that in our back pocket. But the audience wants it unbridled. But there's always there's the CEO, the company, and then there's the people who've been hired, and so they just don't want to offend
HR
one
department.
Person. But the audience, by and large, they're adults in America in 2025. What if they haven't heard? Yeah.
It's about people complaining, getting sued, and saying, "I was so offended, I was shaking." It's because of Brett's filthy act. Who cares?
Stop thinking about eating pussy after that.
I couldn't stop. I couldn't start doing it again.
It's not too late to drop in a bit, go to the Comedy Store, and just insert it into your special, and just say, "I don't know why I thought of this," but
when you tape this, which I think is out now,
April 26th, I believe.
So I think it's out now because we don't know what day it is today.
We don't know what day it is. Sorry.
Yeah. I think it's out. Anyway, we'll see. Yeah. But Brett, I just did mine, and all you want to do is have one of your best crowds. I mean, they're obviously coming to see you, but the cameras sometimes throw people and it turns into a pretty good crowd.
Yeah. How was yours? Tell me the truth.
Mine was... I did too. I did the same kind of thing. 2 one night. I think when you're Sandler and you've got an almost unlimited budget, he was just taping almost everywhere he went. Small, big, really thought out. Yeah. He pictured like a movie, and I think PTA was involved in one of them, and maybe the Safdies. So he's got a lot going on and a lot of fun, and it's fucking great. So I'm doing the more common 2 a night. But yeah, I went to Denver, which is a great comedy town. And I did come out. The last one I did, the crowd was tougher, but they were masked. And I wasn't sure of that. And when I went out, they sounded muffled, which is a good...
You know they were wearing masks?
You know what? They said we can do it in Minneapolis. Austin says no. And they said Netflix isn't agreeing to do it with Austin because of the parameters. But the parameters were they wouldn't wear masks. And I didn't know what the parameters were. I go, oh, but we can still do it. They go, yeah, we'll just do your next gig in Minneapolis. We'll just sell 2 shows. And then I was so in the zone about my own shit. I was like, oh no, because the opener wasn't doing as well. And I'm like, do not give me a rough crowd tonight. Please, God.
Yes.
And so that was, but this one was obviously unmasked and super fun. So I got lucky. Also, you have 2 shows that people don't know. You're sort of combining the 2 shows. Sometimes you use most of one because sometimes you just hit one way better. What did you do? More of a combination?
Well, I had that experience. Everyone had said to me, "Oh, your special crowds are they're so up for it. It's going to be amazing." And then that first crowd, you can tell, right? You can tell by the
one joke
announcement.
Yeah, anything. You just walk out
by the cheer.
Yeah,
that first. There was so much stuff, and there was wires everywhere, and there's stuff in the
lights.
way.
Cameras swooshing around.
Yeah, and I think it does throw them. And like the 7 o'clock's quite early, and that was the first show. And
a little early. They're not drunk. They're just
wide-eyed. And I did that offstage thing, and they went, yay. And I thought, uh-oh.
All you got was a yay.
Well, I think it was like
I know, that's funny. Also, they bring them in a little earlier for that early show, so they're sitting forever. I don't think there's booze. They don't want to see booze. I mean, unless you specifically ask for these things.
And then they're seated with the technical issues. They can't get up, use the bathroom and stuff.
Yeah.
And
And
then I never have shot one that I felt was anywhere near the sets I did before that. But
practice set.
The late show was excellent crowd. Like then I was like, okay, we're good. We've got something with it. I mean,
did you use most of that?
They were really good. They were really good. They were both very good. I'm very grateful to all of them. But
yeah, of course, I'm grateful. Anyone shows up.
When we did a show in Minneapolis when I toured, and that was the best crowd I've ever. known.
See, that's why I said that'd be a good one.
What theater were you in? The Guthrie or
was that Paramount? Maybe. No, that was Denver.
I'd have to go in my calendar
because they do have.
No, we'll give you 20 minutes. Please go find out.
Could you give me 35 minutes to just
35. I love when you said you wrote Ted Lasso in LA. I pictured you in a castle in England. Anything in England, I feel like it's a castle.
Anything with a British accent seems smarter, more sophisticated.
Yeah.
We've seen all your movies all these years.
I always tell Dana, if I'm famous, I'll go over there. But I went there for one day and I wasn't too sure. We went for Grown Ups, that movie, and we all went over there and stayed at the Soho. What's up?
There's a gig in London that's the best gig in London called Always Be Comedy. The man who runs that gig, James Gill, he is obsessed with you, David Spade.
I'm telling you, off camera, I might hit you up and say, hey, tell me about this thing, and I might go do it sometime.
He can't believe I'm doing this podcast. Like, he's so excited. And he said, get him to do my gig. Like, you will be very famous in that room.
Took you 44 minutes to get to this, but this pitch. But thank you, and I might hit you up. So unblock me, and I'm going to hit you on Instagram. And then all my messages flood through once you unblock me. I'm like, dude, I just saw you in the parking lot at the Improv.
Say hello. Why did you drive away as I was chasing after you waving?
I really just have to look at my act like, you might, because I didn't get a chance to hear your whole hour, obviously, but I have to wonder, the big subjects work overseas: politics, marriage, relationships. Mm-hmm. And when I look at my act, I've got to see what I have to throw out because I just don't know,
Well, also, but there's much more. Everything's fucking everywhere right now. Like, I think the stuff you're scared wouldn't work would work.
I should just try it and see what happens because I'll blame them.
Everybody looks at Daily Mail because it's crack cocaine for your brain.
They sift through the commercials and try to look at an article. By the way, do you have enough money for Daily Mail Plus? It's a real question. Dana, they just added a plus. It's $1.99, and I told them to get fucked.
So, by the way, you're doing a movie with Jennifer Lopez currently, right?
Yes. Yeah, we're filming at the moment, yeah.
Do you know what it's called? I do.
You tell me.
It's called Office Party.
Office Romance? Office Time.
Office?
Yeah. It's called Office Schmoffice.
Meet you at the office. What's it called? Meet you at the office?
It's called
Yeah,
Office.
so is it a rom-com? Be honest.
It's a rom-com. It's a big school rom-com.
So this is you stepping outside the lines unless you wrote and produced this film.
No, I did co-write this with Joe Kelly. And
do you play Roy Kent in this? This is a lot of people are asking.
No.
Okay.
He plays Ted Lasso.
He plays Ted.
I play Keely Jones in this one.
J-Lo, in my brief encounters with her, is quite sweet and funny. Is this true?
She's so funny. She's
always
very funny, and she's
always friendly.
Brilliant comedy actor. Like underrated. Like when you see her live, I'm like, fucking hell, you're good at this. Like she's a really, really good comic actor.
So you just said you wrote it with your friend. Is that what you said?
Yes, Joe Kelly.
And so you get it on its feet.
Yeah.
And then you figure out who's the leading lady, who's the rest of it, where you shoot. That's all. You're in on all that? That's great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. We wrote it on a train while I was making Ted Lasso. We sort of had the idea.
Did you think of calling it Office Train?
We did. We thought called it Office Station.
You could all do it. It could all be played on the train.
How did you try to make it spin? How did you spin it? Because it is a genre.
What's the sort of rough pitch? Yeah.
The hook is, I suppose, I can't tell you much, but I can tell you the aim is it's like a really proper, classy, old school rom-com, like a Nora Ephron type film, but with hard R jokes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good.
Got it. That sounds
any aliens?
And aliens.
Okay, good. That's another good hook.
Is it too late for David to do a nice little cameo? He walks in.
What about the guy that steals the girl? Is that part taken?
That's
me, dude.
This stuff. What else could you bring at this very late stage?
That's it. That's my only move. The good-looking, dashing dude that runs in, and she glances at me and sprints toward me.
Out of here.
Hey, this dude! I didn't know about this guy. He was on the planet. Bye-bye. So I think rom-com with R-rated is interesting. I can't really think of one, so I like that idea.
Yeah,
It sounds more real.
Yes, hopefully. I think it's going to be good.
I like that.
Yeah.
So of your two children, Ted Lasso and Shrinking, which one's your favorite?
Get off my couch.
Get off my couch, Chewie. I'm not Chewie. I'm Brett. You're Chewie to me. I'm Harry.
That's Harrison Ford.
I
if you don't
love that
know,
show, and I love Harrison Ford in it.
My wife.
You can't see our shaking fingers. That's a big part.
I know. No one gets mad like Harrison Ford. He's so good, man.
My wife. That's my favorite.
That
Chewie, your ticks got in my soup again.
Chewie, get me out of here. Shut the fuck up, Chewie.
It could be. He should be Chewie Doo, like Scooby Doo, like a collab.
So we're entertaining, Brett. So
Chewie had sex with Scooby. Oh, I guess I'll give up.
We can go anywhere you want. Where you're going to play Hercules potentially. You did a cameo, and now you're in the Marvel universe.
Well, I mean, gun to head, I can't say anything, but at the same time, I think that's probably it on that one.
Okay.
I like gun to head.
Because I thought, what's the difference between Hercules and Roy Kent?
One is a Greek god, and the other one is a hairy guy from Tooting.
From Teterboro.
That's a good
What is it called? What's your favorite soccer team called? Tottenham or something?
Tottenham, yeah. How do you know that?
Okay.
Well,
Who have you been speaking to?
I did talk to my soccer buddy, Bobby, and I said, because I have a Tottenham shirt.
Oh, do you?
And I don't even know why, but he gave it to me. And so I wear it. And if people ask me one question, I fall apart. So I just like to puff up.
Is Brendan Hunt dating Hannah Waddington?
You're reading that off the internet?
Dating Rebecca.
Oh, Rebecca. That's right.
Oh, no. Hannah Waddington's her real name. Is Brendan Hunt dating Rebecca Waddington? Oh. Do you mean, hang on, what's the question?
I don't know.
He doesn't know. He's reading the internet or something.
I'm looking who's the bad apple in the bunch in that cast?
In Ted Lasso.
He's the difficult one.
No, you said in Ted Lasso? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Who's the bad apple in the cast? There genuinely isn't one. And I know that's an annoying answer, but like, I don't.
Who's the most difficult to work with? Go ahead. Dana on this podcast is the most out of us two.
Juno Temple is coming back to play Keely.
Oh, right. It's coming back.
Right?
That's correct. Yes. I believe so. Guns ahead.
Isn't there a girl named Keely on the show?
Yes.
Keely,
and there's someone named Keely?
She's the love interest.
There are people in the world called Keely, yeah.
No.
Is that a common name over there? There's not one person here named Keely.
Really? You have no Keelys?
0.
Oh, we got a couple of Keelys.
Yeah, you got too many.
Yeah.
Were the negotiations tough to get the cast to come back, or were you guys locked into a certain salary already?
We'd all signed like contracts in the early days, forever and ever.
Mm-hmm. So they pick up?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, that's good. Makes it easier.
Yeah.
Saves time.
How long did you do Just Shoot Me? How many years was that?
That was
balls in your court.
Well, we did 6 as a mid-season replacement, they call it out here, and then we went straight through. The old days was 22 episodes a year, so we did about a little over 6 years.
My God,
148.
Did you?
I love it. Went over there, right? Is that where you saw it over there?
Yeah, I saw it in England.
Oh, love it.
Did you? What was your trajectory on that show in terms of enjoyment? Did you always enjoy it? Was there a bit in the middle where you were like, I've had enough of this, and then you enjoyed it again, or what?
No, I came from SNL, and it was options like Dana said. You could do your own show, like the David Spade goofy sitcom. But I had seen that if it didn't work, all your heat's gone. They don't give you another try. So it was an ensemble, a writer from Larry Sanders, Steve Levitan, and a good cast. And the network already liked it. I joined. They added me to a shot pilot. So we reshot it and added me because NBC was a little fuzzy they were on the, back and forth with it. So I got added to it and I liked it the whole run. I have to say that it was one of the most fun runs because everyone, they were writing for me, which at SNL was not exactly the case. They did in some, but you were sort of in charge of it. And then you've got everywhere you go is good people, like on your show, I'm sure. And that's always more fun. And then also it was a little easier than SNL, the hours. And it was immediately in a top 20 or top 10. And we were in a heyday of Seinfeld and ER and Will and Grace and Friends and Frasier. And so we were at least in the vicinity. We weren't those shows, but we were with them on the lot with them. And it was just all fun to see. Just a good run. I loved it. And last thing, and then I'll let you talk at the very end, is we had done, everyone had something in their career was good and bad. Mm-hmm. And so everyone was really happy to be there and lucky and appreciated it. And I think some shows, people get cocky because it's their first show and it works. And so they get sort of out of control. But we were like, every year we got picked up, we're like, this is so great. Because it could all go down to shit. Everyone knew it.
What was your last day like?
Tearjerker, of course. Bawling. If I knew we were going to do it again in a year, that would have been fun for me. Yeah. But I guess yours isn't really a reboot because it's sort of just keep going, right?
Yeah, there's been a big gap, and then we'll...
Don't tell us any secrets, but you got Bill Lawrence, who's great.
He coaches the women's team. That got out. Ted does. So it makes it sort of puts a spin on it.
He's not nodding or shaking his head. He's giving us nothing.
Point out, I've got a gun to my head, remember?
I know. I think this is The good thing about Marvel also is they don't even say when they're releasing their movies anymore. It's smart. They say, we did a big one last week. You guys missed it. And we're like, you're too secretive about it. All right. What else?
Good.
What else for this young man, Dana? I know you had a lot, but we got to let him go. And we appreciate you, by the way, Brett. You're shooting a movie. You come in on the weekend. You help us out. We wanted to talk to you for a while, so thank you very much.
Guys,
very cool.
I appreciate you both very much, and I'm genuinely grateful I got to hang out with you. This is very, very cool for me, so thank you for your time.
I want you to see me in better lighting, but that'll be,
It's
soon.
fun to see someone on TV playing a character, and then meeting you like this. It's just interesting because all I knew was that, character.
Yeah.
So it's, I see why you won the Emmys. Compliment alert.
Good job.
Compliment alert. Sorry.
Thank you.
Back to back is a super compliment. But anyway, I mean, I can't, it's your podcast, Films to Be Buried With.
If you're ever bored and you have time, you should both come and do it one day. I would love to have you, but no pressure. There's nothing worse than being asked to do a podcast. You're off the hook. But if
I'll do that one in a second. I could talk about movies all day long,
Right.
But I want to know the movie before we go for you that moved you the most.
Well, I talked like E.T. I find traumatic. Like I cried the most. Like I remember my dad taking me and my sister. There was like a re-release of E.T. and I was 3, 4, I don't know, 4, 5. He took us to see E.T. at the cinema and he was like, "You're going to love this." And we were crying so much that I remember turning to him and saying, "Why have you brought us to this?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? This feels like abuse. This is not, there's no fun here. I'm devastated."
It is pretty rough. If you're younger, I loved E.T.
I'll be right here.
I have the same build as E.T. Brett, not to plug my special, I talk about E.T. of all fucking movies. Of all movies.
Okay. Dandelion.
It's so random you say that. But that one did kind of rough me up too. I get it. I mean, those movies like that, or like Bambi when you're not ready for the beginning part and you're like, who cleared this?
You know what? My friend Roisin Connerty, if you don't know her, she's a fucking brilliant comedian in England. And her father died, and she once said to me, Disney always has these films where the parent dies and things like that, and people say it's good for kids because it teaches them about death. She said that when her dad died, not for a second did she think, "Well, thank God I saw Bambi."
No shit.
That's a really funny line.
You're like, hey, your mom might die when you're 70, but we'll let you know what it feels like when you're 6.
Yeah, that was cruel.
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
I would say,
you're doing good.
I don't know if you need any more plugs other than your specials out. Shrinking's coming season 2, Ted Lasso season 4, and everything else. Your podcast, how you find time to do it? Do you guys do more than one a day, or how you stack them?
No, I just do it. I do it the week. I don't like free time. I get.
You like to keep it busy.
I get deep darkness if there's any space, so I just fill it up.
Got it.
Huh. Well, that's a whole other podcast. We'll have you back
exactly.
next year. Yeah. Anyway, it's been
I think about death all the time. Anyway, lovely to see you guys.
Hey, great. Death and Darkness coming
He's
soon.
Severely depressed, but Ted Lasso is coming out. Jason Sudeikis will cheer you up. Anyway,
tell Jason hello and good luck with everything with the movie.
Nice
and
guys, thank you for having me.
We'll see you around campus.
This has been a presentation of Odyssey. Please follow, subscribe, leave a like, a review, all the stuff. Smash that button, whatever it is, wherever you get your podcasts. Fly on the Wall is executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Jenna Weiss-Berman of Odyssey, and Heather Santoro. The show's lead producer is Greg Holtzman.